Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Checkered Flag E Streaming. It is time for the Aussie Outlaws Lucas Oil's 2024 Daytona 500. Yes, we are getting ready for the big race this afternoon, the inaugural race of the championship as well. I'm Mr. Carl Wilkinson with you up here in the commentary booth tonight, and I'm joined by the man himself, Mr. Mark Johansson. Mark, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good mate. Good for a nice long night. Well, hopefully it's not a nice long night, and we get some plenty of green flag racing.
Absolutely. Fingers crossed we get a nice long green flag period here and we get to enjoy some good old-fashioned pack racing out on track. Lots of action coming up here tonight, so we hope you're getting ready for that. And look, we're all looking forward to this race. It's going to be an exciting one. As we've seen, it's been a lot of racing this week at Daytona, or these past couple of weeks, I should say. But we are finishing off here in style. Looking at the track at the moment, 22 degrees in the air, 32 degrees track temperature, a little bit of wind to a northeasterly direction, but that track will start to cool as the day goes on, as we move into dusk, and the weather will slowly change as this race goes on, as is tradition, and that can really catch people out. Of course, getting the car set up is going to be crucial here today at Daytona. This 2-mile circuit is very unforgiving if you don't have that car set up correctly. And for 200 laps, it can be an almighty slog to race a car that is not handling well. Luckily, they can do some tweaks in the pit lane. They can change a couple of bits here and there, and that can make all the difference for that latter half of the race. The practice session, or the warm-up, we should say, is just coming to a close, and now the grid will start to form up here at Daytona, getting ready for this fantastic race, and a race we all look forward to. So we'll get ready to get this underway.
Just waiting for everyone to grid, so the grid overlay picks up the right cars.
Yeah, just looking at the starting grid, something may have just gone a little bit wrong on the starting grid because we've got a bit of a mixed up grid here. Looks like it's just been a little bit of an issue. So just waiting to sort that one out quickly. Just listening to some of the drivers over the radio, just deciding to work out what there is going to be going. So it looks like we might be having a bit of a mixed up starting grid here, Mark. Sounds like everybody is just going to carry on and just go with their starting positions. So up front, it's going to be Ruben Phelps with Stevie Williams on the front row. On row number 2, Jamie Curvis and Mark Smith. Row number 3 has Matty Ray and Derek Jacobs. Row 4, we've got Norman Clark with Wayne Van Billion. Paul Drady on the 5th row with Carl Needler. On the 6th row, it's Luke Yeager and Tom Williams. Barry Hunter and Jason Nicholas on the 7th row. Tristan Koch and Noddy Tompkins on row number 8. Phil Butler and Brett Campbell lining up next to each other on row number 9. Justin Allen and Steve Hoppett on the 10th row. Jared Williams and Phil Otto on the 11th row. And Scott Lefebvre on the 12th row. So a little bit of a mix-up there, so we apologise about that. But we will be getting ready to get this race underway. And look, the start of this race is not really a big importance. It can keep you a little bit out of trouble, but it's all about getting this race underway and getting everybody up on track, getting all the action on. So it doesn't really matter where you start, it's where you finish in a race like this, and it is a long old race to get into. With the drafting pack that we have, that's going to shake things up. Pace car is about to pull in here, and we are going to be going live for the race. For this, the first official points race of the Aussie Outlaws series And we will be going live for the 500. And I'm going to shut up so we can enjoy these cars roaring away here at Daytona for 200 laps. And as they cross the line for the first time tonight, it is Stevie Dubb up in the lead in the DPR entry. He's got Mark Smith just behind him with Ruben Phelps, Jamie Nankervis on that low line. A little bit further back, we've got Derek Jacobs up high, and that car's looking a little bit more stable at the moment than it was last night when we saw it up on the high line. We saw it was just a little bit skittish up there. Stevie Dubb dropping below the line to fall to the back of the pack here, so he's decided he's led enough laps here for now. He wants to drop to the back and get himself in a good position, but there's no real gaps forming for him. He's going to have to really drop to the end of the line here, and that could be disastrous because I think he's going to drop off the back of the pack. He does. That was very mistimed for the veteran Stevie Dubb. Disastrous fall back there. He just dropped right back a little bit too late and had to get back on the track on the corner, and that has cost him dearly, Mark.
Yeah, it definitely has. It's going to be a long old night for him now. If he does completely lose that pack, and that's what he looks like is going to happen to him. Unfortunately, tonight we've only ended up with 23 out of 27 starters. So some guys have decided to pull out, and yeah, unfortunate.
Unfortunate, but 23 cars are plenty on a super speedway and will give us some great racing still. It's all going to be about keeping that pack formed up and keeping yourself in the running tonight. A small mistake can dearly cost you. We saw that with the 98 just then, really costing him. Looks like Ruben Phelps is deciding to drop back a little bit here. Instead of going low, he's getting up high, and that might be the wiser decision. We saw Mark Smith do a similar thing, but Ruben's just having to wait for the rest of the pack to clear him now underneath as they're 3 wide going along here at the moment. And Ruben Phelps drops back and will get himself back in line here very, very shortly. And it looks like, I imagine we'll see the SRM cars starting to get their ducks in a row and getting themselves set up in a position where they can link up with all of their other teammates. Same could be said for Valve Esports. I'm sure they will be trying to link up with their other 2 cars up the front at some stage. At the moment, it is Jamie Nankervis in the lead with Matty Ray in second and Norman Clark in third. Mark Smith sits in fourth. He's managed to link up with Paul Drady. So the 2 Lucas Oil cars linking up with each other there, and that is good news for that team. And they will be trying to work together in this race as we hit lap number 5, 195 to go here tonight. It's going to be a long old race, but wait for all the action to start kicking off. It'll be a little bit, probably going to be looking at something a little bit cautious in these early stages, as people are just going to be keeping themselves calm and collected and doing a bit of fuel saving, not worrying too much about their position. But once we get into that latter half of the race, things will definitely pick up.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen so far in all these 500s that we've looked at in the last 2 weeks, Carl. It's either been a wreck fest early on, but 95% of them we've seen around the 100 lap mark before anyone really starts to make a boo-boo. But again, we can come back to our fuel stops, you know. Once we get into those fuel stops around lap 40 to 50, we do see people make just a slightest mistake. We've seen a few people last night in the shootout race that made a few mistakes and it cost themselves a penalty, a stop go or a whole penalty. and that really does make the night long and hard for everyone.
Yeah, green flag stops on a super speedway are never fun because there is so much that will and can go wrong in them. We saw it last night in the duel, and it did catch a few drivers out. And it's that pit entry that is the hard part because getting these cars onto pit lane is never an easy task. You're getting in there at a huge amount of speed, dropping down from 300 kilometers per hour to about 80 in the pit lane. No sort of electronic aids for that. You have to do it all with your right foot. It's all with the right foot and the left foot, getting the brakes on, getting the accelerator in the right position, having to keep that speed, keep your eye on it as well, because there's no speed pit limiter there. You have to do it all yourself. Then you have to hit your box. Getting into your box can be tricky sometimes as well, because you're going off this nice sticky asphalt onto concrete, which is a very different surface, and it can just get a little bit, just catch you out a little bit. Sometimes you lock a wheel up or you make a little bit of a slide in there, and you just overshoot your box. And then getting back out onto the track as well. Again, another tricky section of the racetrack. It always gets a little bit squirrely down below the yellow line. And when you're coming off pit lane, especially if you've got cold tyres or old tyres, it can easily catch you out. As Derek Jacobs is getting up into the lead now, will he drop down to the low line? We saw that car was performing extremely well on the low last night, but he's going to stick it up at the moment, sticking it up high with Tom Williams behind him, and he has managed to get his way all the way to the front. We've got two lines running well here at the moment. It's Derek Jacobs leading the high line with Jamie Curvis down low.
Yeah, definitely. Jamie will be looking to try and hook the boys up as we see the number 5 Tom Williams get down, and Jason Nichols. Great start for him up into third place now. It definitely looks like again tonight, Carl, the low line is the place to be early on in the race, but that high line is definitely working well.
Yeah, the high line seems to have some good pace to it and good momentum when it starts to go. But then as soon as a couple of cars drop out from that line, it will just lose all of that and stalls out very, very quickly. So it's always that balancing act of having some people up there to work with you, and you need them in that group to get it working just fine. And a lot of these cars are looking a bit more stable at the moment. We're only a few laps in here, but everybody's looking a lot more stable in this race than they were last night.
Yeah, definitely, and look, we've got some extras in here tonight. The SRM boys of Ruben Phelps and Matty Ray, and a third team that's kind of a third driver there that's kind of out as a privateer, but still running under the SRM banner is that number 80 orange car of Noddy Tompkins. So be interesting to see how he goes tonight. He's done a lot of racing here at Daytona over the last 2 weeks. So and I know he's had some top 10 finishes. So be interesting to see how he goes. Also back at the back of the field, our mate Matty Hunter, not pushing the buttons tonight, but out there in the race car. It's good to see him out there having a run, and let's hope he's a bit more of a regular for us here at the Aussie Outlaws this year, just to see how he can go through the season.
Yeah, hopefully we can see Matt out on track, getting some racing under his belt, because it can get the better of you when you're doing production and broadcast for sim racing. Is you tend to do a lot of that, and you don't get to do too much driving out on track, unfortunately. So good to see the 48 back on track, keeping himself at the back of the pack at the moment, but crucially inside that bubble. So he's in a good position at the moment. No need of racing too hard too early. Just keeping yourself back there out of trouble is never a bad place. And it also gives you a little bit more fuel mileage as well. And that's always a crucial part of this race. Up front, Tom Williams at the moment, he's going to be chugging through the fuel. Same for Derek Jacobs up on the high line. Those cars will be using a lot of fuel at the moment, and that could come back to bite him later in the race. You can extend those stints over the race. You can sometimes find yourself making one less pit stop than the rest of the field, and that is such a huge advantage over a race. but you'll also lower your pit stop times as well, because being in the lane, having to take a little bit less fuel at the end can dramatically change the outcome of your race as well.
Yeah, definitely can, Carl. We were just talking a bit there about not being able to do a lot of driving, while we're broadcasting. It goes the same for us, but luckily for us, Carl, here at the Aussie Outlaws, we're also running a GT3 competition or championship on a Wednesday night. So if you like to turn right as well as left, come along and join us. Just search for the league in iRacing and come have some fun on a Wednesday night with the GT3s.
Not sure my wheel turns right. I've never tried it.
Sorry, mate, go.
I was going to say, well, we'll find out for sure. That will be an interesting experience.
Definitely will. Nice and settled at the moment, just everyone feeling each other out. We've got some team cars there. We can see on the high line at the back the two of the Quantum Motorsports cars there. Tonight, Mr. Steve Hoppert, I know he wasn't happy with the way it ran last night. Big check up there as we just see Brett Campbell checked up and go up high and just rub the fence ever so lightly. I know that Steve Hoppett's got a very experienced person in his ear tonight, so let's see how he goes tonight.
Yeah, somebody turning their driving into crew chiefing tonight.
Yeah, Steve caught himself come down pit lane last night in his pit stop a little bit too hot, and he just struggled. He's just been struggling with getting off the track into the lane, so he's dragged someone in to give him some coaching and some crew chief stuff for him. So be interesting to see how they go.
Now they're just catching up to Stevie Dubb right now, who is going to go a lap down, 16 laps into this race, and that's all it takes for the pack to catch you. He fell off the back of his pack around about lap number 2, and he has dropped all the way to the back now, and he is going to be a lap down from here. Just looking back as well, Brett Campbell is at risk of falling off the back of the pack as well. He needs to absolutely put his foot through the floor. He needs to be rocking in his sim rig as well, trying to get every little bit of speed he can out of that car. But I think he's just fallen off the bubble, and he is dropping like a stone at the moment, and he is a good 10 kilometers per hour slower than the pack. So Brett Campbell, after that little wiggle, that has cost him dearly because he's fallen off the back of the pack. Now it's going to be a long drive, and it won't be long until the rest of this pack catches him up, unless we have a caution.
Yeah, look, I'd say we will end up seeing a caution somewhere through the night, but right at the moment, Stevie Dubb will get the lucky dog and get his lap back, and that's what he'd be praying for. Maybe not so early, but we have seen in the last couple of races the first caution come out around lap 35, and it's null and void the first green stop service top bays. So let's see what happens here tonight. Shout out to Mr. Phil Otto there in the number 13 Kingsman Racing Mustang. He missed the duels last night, or the shootout race last night, Carl. He had a biopsy done on his ear with over some skin cancer scares. So his headphones will be giving him a little bit of grief at the moment. So let's hope he can continue right throughout the race. Now, just gone back and checked on what happened with the grid, and iRacing has decided to change things around. So a bit of an iRacing glitch there. So I do apologise to the drivers that came out and raced last night, and sorry to the spectators that were expecting to see someone start somewhere else in the grid.
The joy of computers and technology is when they don't go well, they don't go well at all. So it is one of those things that can very easily catch you out, unfortunately. Hopefully, though, that'll be the only tale of woe this evening, and hopefully be the only problem that we have up front. Tom Williams for Quantum Motorsports in the lead, but now he's going to jump up high and let Jason Nicholas take the lead. And he's going to try and shuffle his way back to get a little bit of fuel saving in, I'd imagine. But Derek Jacobs does not want to see that happen at the moment, and is going to be pushing Tom along at the moment. Tom Williams up in the number 5 being pushed along, and still in the lead of now the high line. That's just checked up a little bit, lost a little bit of momentum, but they'll be getting back up to speed. And just got to wonder when we'll see Williams trying to unlink himself from the rest of this field, because I just get the feeling he wants to drop back a little bit to save a tiny bit of fuel here tonight, because it is going to be important. We've seen that a few times at this track. If you can just save a couple of extra gallons of fuel, it makes a huge difference in the way the race pans out. And it won't be too long until we start seeing people having to think about those green flag stops as well. With 21 laps in, we'll expect to see people coming in around about 10 to 15 laps, I'd say. We might start to see some early pit stops. Running at a very fast pace at the moment as well up front, so there's no fuel saving going on up at the front. We've seen it a few times. We saw it in the full metal NASCAR race here at Daytona as well, the Cup race, where the drivers were lapping at, well, pedestrian pace, you could say. They were absolutely going around at the slowest speed possible in the mid 50s at some stage. There's a little bit of checkup in the mid pack there in the high line, but we are seeing them going flat out at the moment. Nobody is saving. They are going at absolute top pace.
Yeah, we can. I apologise now. I've just realised that that top 4 ticker is not working correctly either. So I do apologise. We'll try and sort that out for everyone.
Get the old lump hammer out. No, it's been a few little things just playing up, unfortunately, throughout the start of the season. We apologise about that, but it is the way sometimes. We test and test and test, and then when we finally go live, then that's where these problems rear their ugly heads, unfortunately.
The problem is, Carl, as we know, you and I know, everything has updates, and sometimes the updates play with the overlays and the programming that you set up to broadcast these races. So we do apologise, and as Carl said, we will iron out these little glitches as time goes on.
Beat the gremlins to death. That's the hard part when you're doing a broadcast, but we still have the general tickers still working, so that's the main thing. So they are running along nice and smooth. It's just that top 4 ticker at the moment that's playing up, so we can just get rid of that like that. Nicely done, Mark. So we are underway still, and Tom Williams still stuck up on the high line and being absolutely bullied up there by Derek Jacobs, who is not letting him fall back in the pack at the moment, and he is keeping him up front and using that car as a windbreak, as well as helping his fuel levels as well. Phil Otto just sat behind that as well, so doing a nice job there, keeping themselves up towards the front. Matty Ray linked up with Noddy Tompkins on the low line. So that's a nice little position of people that can work together. Jamie Nankervis is trying to sort of slot himself with a teammate as well, but it's not quite working just as of yet, as there are quite a few cars around him. Norman Clark just sitting a couple of cars back, and then just behind them is it's Scott Lefebvre getting a good run up the top, and he's trying to get himself up and to link himself with the teammates as well. And We saw them have an absolute blistering pit stop last night, absolutely nail it. Will they do the same tonight and get themselves out in a good pack to race with?
That High Line now has got a great run. We can see that those 4 cars or 5 cars. Big bump there by Phil Otto. That's allowed Tom Williamson to stick up there by himself, and he'll probably look at falling back and do some fuel saving. Derek Jacobs, our only American driver in the field tonight. Unfortunately, we're missing Russell Bratko from the SRM guys and Brian Massa out of the US.
Oh! Contact with Nolly Tompkins. He had a big moment coming off of into turn number 1. Just got a little bit sideways and made contact with one of the Valve cars. They've managed to make it through without major impact. It was Norman Clark who got tagged.
Got a replay here. Got a replay.
So let's see this replay here. Watch the orange and black car up top, running along. He has a big run, and he's just going to get a little bit squirrely going into the corner. And I think he may have got called clear on the inside, and it was not actually clear, and that just caught Norman Clark. He kept his foot in it, didn't lose too much time, but has dropped off a little bit from the rest of the pack. It has spread things out a little bit behind as well, but everybody still running and not too much damage to any of those cars. It is very rare we see a big hit like that, and it does not bring out the caution flag or wreck any cars, Mark.
Yeah, definitely. We're back live again now with live feed. That's spread the field out a little bit now. But yeah, you're right. It's unusual that we don't see a huge wreck coming from that. We'll just jump back and have a look at Noddy. He's really dropped off the back of the pack now, and that's going to make a very long night again for him. So don't be surprised if we see him go a lap down very quickly.
Yeah, he's currently about 20 seconds off from dropping down a lap. It's going to be a little bit of time. Brett Campbell will be coming up soon on the rest of the pack, about 10 seconds until the pack catches him, and he will be dropped down a lap. I'm sure he's going to be cursing that didn't bring out the caution flag, because if it did, that could have saved Brett Campbell's race tonight and got him back up there, as well as Stevie Dubb, who is down a lap at the moment, the only car a lap down. So that caution did not happen, and those drivers that have dropped off the pack will be absolutely ruining that.
Yeah, with the small field too tonight, Carl, it doesn't help either. Yeah, it's unfortunate we don't have the bigger field that we have seen in past years, and in some of the other leagues. Yeah, the 2 big weekends of the racing. A lot of guys have gone out and raced 12-hour today, so that's why our numbers are down. I know that it's a hard choice what to pick between. So nevertheless, we will be seeing bigger fields in the weeks to come, and back to normal hard-fought racing.
Just looking back a little bit, Jared Williams has just dropped off the pack as well in the number 96, and he is going to be just starting to fall a little bit, and that's unfortunate for him. He is just tantalisingly close, but not close enough to be in the draft, so he is going to start hemorrhaging time very, very quickly. Meanwhile, up at the front, Derek Jacobs and Phil Otto working very well together at the moment. A lot of bump drafting going on up towards the front as well. They are really pushing hard at the moment on this low line and working it out very well with each other. There's a bit of side drafting going on down towards the back as well, and that is just slowing them down a little bit, but they are catching back up to the pack now, and the pack is indeed catching up to Brett Campbell and Noddy Tompkins now, so we will be seeing them drop down a lap very, very shortly now. Those two have linked up with each other and are trying to get some speed in the car, but not much you can do in just a 2-car position like that.
No, unfortunately, it's it's going to be, as I said, and you've also said, long night for these boys at the back here. Unfortunately, never know what happens. It's a long race, so we're only on lap 32 of 200, so it'd be interesting to just see how it pans out for these guys.
It's never over until it is over, of course, and it could well come back into their favour as this race goes on. Expect to see Stevie Dub trying to work his way up the field a little bit as well, just so he can keep himself as the lead car a lap down, just in case that caution flag flies and he can get the lucky dog position. So 33 laps into this race, 167 remaining here tonight for the Lucas Oil's 2024 Daytona 500 here on Checkered Flag e-streaming. It is the Aussie Outlaws here racing tonight, and up the front it's Derek Jacobs at the moment. That car looked quick last night and it is showing it once again. That thing is looking very, very quick up the front. Looks pretty darn stable on the low line as well. Phil Otto up there as well. We know that car's quick because it was up on the front row in qualifying, as well as Paul Drady. Those two locking out the front row in the qualifying, and that tells me that they have got some very quick cars. And don't discount those Valve Esport cars because they took the win last night in the duels. They had some really good pace and some very good teamwork as well. We didn't see SRM out in force either, and we know how good they are as well. They'll be quiet. They won't worry too much about the race in the early stages. It will be something they will start to fight for as the race goes on. In the latter stages of the race, they will come alive for sure.
Yeah, definitely. While we've just got this lull, I might take a chance to thanks our sponsors that have come on board this year for us, Lucas Oils and Pluckers Racecraft. Lucas Oils for all your everyday needs and racing oil needs. Pluckers Racecraft, he imports all safety equipment for all types of motorsport, drag racing, Penske shocks and different things like that. Also, everything simulated. If you ever need anything to go racing, check out their Facebook page, and he can help you set yourself up with some top-end gear at a reasonable price. So make sure you go check out everything simulated. Outlaw slot cars, miniature world slot car racing down there in Melbourne. The great range of Scalextric type slot cars, and get out there and check them out. And you can also go racing. They hold competitions, and Thursday night is their drag racing competition. Yes, that's right, Carl. Drag racing on Scalextric or slot cars. It's hard to believe how far that's come since I was a kid.
Sure, people will be licking the tyres or putting a little bit of extra sticky tape on them. Just might want to double check the feed is back to live because I think it might be a little bit behind.
Should be live. Yeah, it should be live.
Okay. You just jump up to Derek Jacobs quickly for me.
I'll just keep running through.
Just fast forward. Yeah, it's not live, I don't think. There we go. There we go. That's better. I was looking sort of across my two screens and being like, something wrong there. Yeah, there we go. It wasn't far off, only about half a lap, but it was just enough to throw us out a little bit there from synchronised moments.
Yeah, a couple of other sponsors I need to thank, mate. Aerial Auto Art. He does some of the great paints you see out there tonight. on these cars. So check him out. And Mountain. Oh, sorry. We are having issues. Ah, dearie me. There we go. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Had it set up to come up on the wrong screen.
We've got some pit stops happening here, Mark, as Derek Jacobs is needing to pull it into the lane. He's been leading quite a while here, lap 39, and it looks like he's going to be coming in all on his lonesome here. So that is not easy for Derek Jacobs. That car being up at the front and leading the charge has not helped its fuel mileage too much. So made it to lap 40 before he had to come into the lane. And that is going to slightly change his race, because if we keep running green, that could leave him a little bit shorter towards the end. Ideally, if they can make it another 2 to 3 laps here, they can get tantalizingly close to the finish. So you're going to see some drivers try and make it an extra 3 or so laps here, because if they can do that, they can extend their stint a little bit and possibly make it with just one less pit stop than everybody else. Seeing some of the Quantum cars come into the lane now. Phil Butler, Tom Williams, and Brett Campbell all pull it into the lane with each other. Meanwhile, Phil Otto is up in the lead of the race now. So everybody hitting their marks in the lane, and that's such a crucial thing to do here. You've got to be absolutely perfect coming in, and it's always tricky getting that pit entry right. See some drivers just give the brake a tiny little glance as they're running around in pack formation, just to try and get a little bit of heat into the brake discs, so they're less likely to lock up on the pit entry, as Phil Otto comes in with Jason Nicholas and Tristan Koch. So Stevie Dubb coming in as well, and all a big lock up for Stevie Dubb. Did he slow it down in time, or did his night just go from bad to worse? We will find out very shortly. It looks like he just got away with that. Phil Butler, unfortunately, he did cop a penalty. So that is going to be a hard luck story for him in this race. As we see the groups starting to peel in, and pit stops start happening here.
I would say expect the Valve cars to come in and SRM to come in together, and I wouldn't even be surprised if we see those two Lucas Oil's cars of Mark Smith and Paul Drady coming down the same. I know they had a bit of concern with the amount of fuel they were using last night, so don't know if they've been able to adjust anything there to make it a bit more fuel friendly. But we'll definitely soon find out.
Well, as Derek Jacobs just rejoining the track there, and everybody just moving up around him, and they are all getting very, very twitchy now.
This is where it's hard, Carl, because these guys will be wanting to get down pit lane, and we got the rejoining cars that have already made their stop all over the place, and you can see here one of the Valve cars are going to get caught out and have to stay out. So that's definitely going to, that's definitely going to hurt.
Does he have enough fuel to make it round? That's the question. So that's going to be crucial for him now, and that's broken up that Valve train as well. So we saw last night their pit stops were absolutely stunning, but with one less car in that group, that's going to hurt them a little bit. We know Jared Williams got broken up from the pack as well, so they're going to go an extra lap here, and this will be them coming into the lane. And this is ideal now for making one less stop in this race. They've extended to a fantastic point here, so they'll have a little bit more fuel, and that will help them out just that little bit at the end. So Mark Smith, Paul Drady coming in, giving themselves plenty of room between each other this time. And Norman Clark brings it in as well.
This won't hurt Norman too bad coming in with these guys. And should bring them back out close together. it should group all the cars back up. So we'll just have to wait and see how quick these guys are get service. So we're looking at around, as I said, 40 to 45 laps of fuel. So it's going to be interesting. So that should see us back down the lane around lap 90. And Norman Clark has done a fantastic job. He's been able to jump both those Lucas Oil cars in the pit stop.
Very nice stop. That's crucial here, and it could pay off for him. It's just going to be coming out on track. His teammate is just coming around now, so he's going to miss his teammates a little bit here. So that first group got in a little bit quicker, so they managed to keep a little bit more speed. But he will join up with the rest of this pack now, same as those two Lucas Oil cars. And we can see Phil Otto leading the charge there, and it's broken the pack up a little bit. Scott Lefebvre up at the front now, leading once more. The 66 up in the lead of this race. That car has been running very well at the front. The two SRM cars between them now of Matty Ray and Ruben Phelps. Jamie Nankervis sits in 4th position. And I think
Phil Otto
is actually catching up to Jared Williams as well. So that will actually work out quite well for the Valve Esports team, because if they can link up with their car that's fallen down a lap here, they can get themselves in a nice position to link up very, very well.
Scott's got to get the hammer down, get right in the draft pack of Jamie Nankervis, otherwise they will lose those two SRM boys. Jarrett needs to get up there and join that line very quickly.
He's just about done it, I think, and they've worked with him a little bit there, and he should just hold on, I think. So he's in a good spot right there. But the rest of the field are coming very, very quickly, being led by Phil Otto right now. Phil leading the charge, and that group is catching up at a vast rate of knots, and that's going to bring Norman Clark up to the front with the rest of his teammates. So not a disastrous stop, but it could have gone better for Valve. Meanwhile, everybody else has linked up nicely in this group, but we have seen a few cars miss out in those pit stops. Steve Williams, of course, he's still a lap down, remember. So he's sort of in a strange position, but he is the first car a lap down at the moment. We've got 16 cars in this lead pack at the moment, from Phil Otto to Justin Allen. So plenty of cars in this group. Big tank slapper for Jared Williams at the back of the pack there. He managed to save it, but that would have woken him up very, very sharply. So we settle into the next stage of the race, and seeing what we can do now to get to the end of this run. And well, it's going to be a lot of maths going on in these drivers' heads as they try and work out when they need to stop, especially if we go green to the very end of this race, Mark.
Yeah, definitely. So as I said, should see him back in the lane around lap 90. So that won't give him. That'll have to give him another 2 stops in the second half, unless we get a caution where they can save some fuel. But Stevie Dubb, you're talking about Stevie Dubb being a lap down. He's done the right thing. He's actually sitting in P2 on the track, so that's good for him. Should there be a caution, or should he wish to get out and have a run at Otto, and that'll put him back onto the lead lap. So just have to play the waiting game. The only DPR car in the field tonight, so it's good to see him out there running. I know he's probably one of the most capped racers for NASCAR in Australia and New Zealand. I think he brought up 400 race starts last year with Ann's car, Carl.
Sounds about right. It's quite a lot of race starts he has underneath his belt. Stevie Dove, an absolute veteran on the oval side of things.
So we might just jump on board. Might jump back and jump on board with Scott Lethborough, and he's down in P9, so it'll be a good chance to see what he's actually seeing out of his cockpit. So we might just crank it up a little bit and leave you on board here for a lap or two.
And we are back, and not much has changed. We're seeing Valve linking up with each other, and we've also just seen Steve Hoppett in the 131 entry. He's just dropping down a lap here, unfortunately, getting caught off on the green flag stops by the looks of it, just falling off the pack, and that has cost him a lap in this race. So we've got quite a few cars a lap down now. Steve Hoppett at the moment, with Stevie Dubb, Brett Campbell, Jared Williams, Noddy Tompkin, Phil Butler, and Luke Yeager. So a few cars have had some catastrophes in pit lane. Meanwhile, we do have a second pack formed up with Wayne Van Bullen. A little bit further back, he is trying to catch the main pack at the moment and seeing what he can do in that line of cars. And they've actually got some good pace at the moment. They are trying to close down about a 4-second gap to the back of the main pack, but they are carrying some fairly good speed in that car. So it's not over yet. They just need to work very hard with each other. In that group, you have Van Bullen, Niegler, Jacobs, Cox, Allen in that group, as well as Noddy Tompkins. And I think that's it for that little group further back. So they're trying very hard to get up to the main pack here. And look, they could absolutely do it. So they are working very well with each other at the moment. But they just need to keep on working on that pace. Of course, the leaders are probably not worrying too much at the moment. There's probably a few people trying to extend the stint length a little bit as well. So don't be too surprised to see this lead pack just going a little bit slower than they have to, just to try and eke out a little bit of fuel mileage. So they only have to make 2 more stops to the end of this race. We are 60 laps in now, 140 remaining. And we are going along nicely here at the 500 for the Lucas Oils Daytona 500 here on Checkered Flag e-streaming for Aussie Outlaws. So Phil Otto currently in the lead here of the main pack. He's got Stevie Dubb behind him, absolutely pushing like a champion and coming along nicely. Tom Williams sits second in pack with Jason Nicholas, Norman Clark, Mark Smith, Paul Drady, Matty Hunter up in 7th. 8th is Gemino Calvis. Then we have Scott Lefebvre and Matty Ray in the top 10 at the moment. And they're all pretty settled in that pack. Not too many people wanting to make too many moves at the moment. They are all pretty comfortable where they are.
Yeah, just a lull, the low part of the race, where we won't see too many moves or silly runs. They'll all sit here and just behave themselves. So next week, mate, I know we're still here this week, but next week we're off to Atlanta for the Everything Simulated 400. Another super speedway, basically running on a 1.5. Very different track to the old Atlanta.
It is a very different layout, very different style of racing there now, but it's a track that I absolutely adore. So looking forward to that one, and always a fun track to race on, the new Atlanta, and back-to-pack racing effectively, but just on a much smaller scale.
Yeah, definitely. And then we're off to Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas, baby. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Unless you watch Checkered Flag e-streaming, and then what happens in Vegas is seen worldwide.
Or talked about. So some good racing coming up. We'll broadcast right through to Phoenix in round 4. Then round 5, just the week before Easter, we go to Bristol, and we're going to have a week off that week, Carl, and we'll do a highlight package out of Bristol. So some challenging times there at Bristol. It's a tight little track. 500 laps around that, John. I tell you what, I'm glad I'm not racing it.
No, it's a long old race around Bristol, and look, it should be an absolute blast around there. It's tempting to maybe roll the car out on track, but probably just going to enjoy the week off so I can relax a little bit. That's going to be the big thing for me, getting a little bit of relaxation, and I think it's going to be key for getting through that weekend of racing.
Yeah, now I touched earlier on our GT racing that's going to be happening on a Wednesday night every fortnight. Some great tracks there, some great tracks from your part of the world, Carl, Alton Park, Donington, Snetherton. So some great racing to come up there in the GT3s. If people want to get involved with that, just come along and go to our website of www.aussieoutlaws.com, and you'll find all the information there.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to get some GT racing in as the weeks go on, and like I said, getting around my part of the world. Hopefully we see Thruxton working its way into the sim someday, so it can actually be my real part of the world, because that is my local track back home. Well, I say back home, and I've been here 20 years now, so this is very much my home, but back in old Blighty, I should say. So, yeah, it should be an absolute blast getting those GT cars on the track, and some very good drivers in the field as well. These boys not only know how to turn left, they can absolutely turn right as well, and there's going to be a lot of action in that field, I can tell you that. Wayne Van Billen's doing a great job of closing up on the rest of the field now. He is closing the gap about 3/10 of a lap at the moment, and won't be long until we see one big long snake of cars here at Daytona. So they're chugging along at still a fairly good pace. We're in the 46.7 range. A fair bit off fastest lap, by about a second at the moment. So they are definitely not pushing to the extremes in this car. So that is good for the rest of the field, because it gives them a chance to just catch up that little bit. But they're all thinking about the end of the race. They're working backwards here, trying to work out when they need to make that final pit stop.
You can see there further back in 6th and 7th, the actual pole winner and pole sitter that should have been there on pole, Paul Drady and his teammate Mark Smith working together, and Matty Hunter up there in P7, touching wood very quickly so I don't jinx him. Good to see him out there having a good long run.
I mean, can we actually jinx Matt, though? I mean, he is one of us, so surely it doesn't work on our own.
No, I hope not. For your sake, because it's your fault. Car back from Matty Hunter, we see, as my timing is gone all QF2 now.
We've got a quantum car back there between Matty Hunter and Jamie Nan-Curtis, and that's Philip Butler at the moment. He is sitting there a lap down at the moment, so the field is a little bit mixed up as well.
Yep, and we can see the 3 Valve Esports team there joined up, and then right behind them the SRM boys.
Yeah, they've linked up nicely now. They have got Jared Williams on lap down, unfortunately, for the Valve cars, but they are linking up nicely in that group. As the rest of the pack are closing in, and it won't be long until we see Van Billen catching up to the back of this chain of cars, and linking himself to the back of Steve Hoppett here. So they're going to have a huge amount of speed once they get linked up and get into the draft of the cars ahead as well. And they'll either go sailing on past, create a high line, or just sit there and start some heavy fuel saving. If I was in their boots, I would be going into heavy fuel saving mode because they've done a lot of pushing to get back to this point, and that will have used a lot of fuel to get them there. So I'm expecting to see these guys just hang on to the back of this pack now and then start to drive a little bit more cautiously just to get themselves extended into this stint.
Yeah, definitely. So we've been racing now just on the hour. We're just probably a fraction slower than the past 500s. We normally see us up around the lap 90, so we're probably 20 laps slower than what we've seen in the past. But nevertheless, it's good to see all these guys out here. I think I mentioned last night. You know, we've got our cameras on Wayne Van Buren at the moment. He's one of our Kiwi drivers. So it's 10 o'clock now over there in the land of the long white cloud, and Derek Jacobs, our American driver, it's like 3 a.m. over there for him at the moment. So some great dedication from our New Zealand guys and from our American guys.
Yeah, absolutely, and good job to see them getting along nicely out there and just sort of getting a good run here as well. We're seeing Nobby Tompkins and Derek Jacobs trying to get that high line working now. So there's a few cars towards the back that are starting to want to creep up a little bit here. So they're going to see what they can do. And remember, a couple of those cars are a lap down as well. So it could be their opportunity to get themselves in a position where they could get the lucky dog.
Yeah, definitely. They've got a lot of work to do though to catch up Stevie Dubb, who's sitting up there at the front of the pack. So I know Stevie will be looking for a caution, but he'll also again probably won't want one just yet because he'll be wanting to have it around the next lot of pit stops, which we're only about 15 or so laps away from the next set of service stops.
Yeah, it won't be long. There's a few drivers that will need to be coming in a little bit sooner than that as well. As my co-commentator, the Crow, has decided to join me for tonight. And the Australian Wildlife, always happy to join me. So we're expecting to see a few cars coming in the lane in probably the next 8 or so laps. So there might be a few cars coming in about 8 laps' time. Those drivers that can extend it will want to extend as much as possible because that will mean a shorter stop at the end, or possibly being able to extend to just sort of almost one less stop. You know, it's always crucial to get to a point where you can sort of get a little bit less fuel than your rivals, or make one less stop. So I'm sure they'll be thinking about that as they're cruising along at the moment. Leaders cruising around about the 47.2s at the moment, so a good couple of seconds off the main pace. So they're going into a little bit of fuel conservation mode now. Not as heavy as we've seen it at some stages, but they are going into that just a little bit more relaxed, not quite pushing as hard, not running the engine to the extremes of the rev range. They're just letting it run nice and calm at the moment so they can extend and get maybe one less stop in this race, or one very short splash and dash at least. So we see Noddy Tompkins and Derek Jacobs now running at that high side, and they are closing in to the front. And not necessarily a bad position to let those guys into the lead, I would say. If I was Phil Otto, I'd be quite happy to see those two cars coming up on my high side and then slotting down in front of me, just to help with the fuel mileage a little bit here.
Yeah, it's there's nothing nothing for Phil to lose from letting those guys in. And as we see, Derek's dropped back into that low line. Now this has made it interesting because right up there at the moment we've got Phil Otto in the lead. Stevie Williams, that is one lap down, and he's the first car that is a lap down. Then we got Tom Williams and Derek Jacobs, who is also one lap down. So Stevie Dub's got to be careful and just keep his eye on that mirror, that he doesn't lose that lucky dog spot, because then we've got Noddy Tompkins and Brett Campbell that is also lap down. So just got to keep, Stevie Dub's just got to watch that mirror and make sure they don't go for a run, and we may see him jump up and block that high line if they do.
Yeah, that's it. Derek Jacobs is on the lead lap, thankfully, so that's one less car to worry about for Stevie Dubb, but there are quite a few lap cars working their way up to the front now, and Stevie Dubb's just got to be in the position to take advantage of that if he needs to, and I think he's noticed that concern, because his pace has just shot right up with Phil Otto. They've just gone up to a 46.6, so they are starting to get some speed back into the low line, and just stopping the rest of the field being too opportunistic here to run up in front of them. But we are 77 laps in, 123 laps remaining here tonight, and it is Phil Otto in the lead at the moment, and doing a great job up there at the front. So, a couple of cars towards the back of the pack have fallen off as well. Trying to work out who that is. Tristan Koch, Justin Allen, Carl Needler, and Wayne Van Billion. They've just dropped off the back of the main pack again. So, just struggling a little bit at this stage. They might be able to catch back up again if the pace just drops a little bit. They're not too far off, but they're not in an enviable spot at the moment.
No, definitely not. And look, there's two teams there. Wayne Van Buren and Justin Allen are one team, but Carl is there working with those guys in their race channel. So they'll be working, trying to work together and try and get Tristan to jump up right up on the back of Justin to try and get that group running again. Definitely a better 4-car train than a 3-car train.
That's it, and I can't imagine it's going to be too long until we see Phil Otto popping it into the lane. He is getting close to his fuel mileage now. Probably next lap or two we'll see the number 13 pulling it into the lane and making a stop here for some more fuel, as he's been leading this pack for quite some time as well, so that will have really hurt the fuel mileage on that car, and probably need to come in for a bit of extra fuel towards the end, while everybody else is going to be trying to keep it out there as long as possible now. And it's going to be who can keep it out there the longest. That's going to be a key feature in tonight's race. Who can extend their fuel mileage and who can make it to the checkered flag. And, well, if we see a caution, that could throw everything out of balance.
Yeah, definitely. Now, the big thing, though, Carl, is that when these lap cars come down pit lane, they don't want to see a caution come out then, because that will really hinder their lucky dogs. So I guess everyone's just got to run the tanks as dry as they can and get in and get fuel. We've seen the guys take some tyres last time. They've got 10 sets of tyres here tonight. So that's exactly what NASCAR gives the real world. So again, we will do the same.
Yeah, tyres not a huge premium on the super speedways. Be a bit different once they get to Atlanta, and we're seeing cars coming in now. Otto, Stevie Dubb coming in to the lane. Derek Jacobs and Jason Nicholas as well coming in to the lane. That was nicely done by all 4 of those cars. But we might see some people just changing right side only here, or just sort of left sides, or they might go all 4 because being a full top up of gas, it's not going to be too dramatically different. We're seeing Phil Otto there. It looks like he's just taking right side only. So there's going to be little different strategies in that respect as well, because you don't really get too much tyre wear at a place like Daytona, but slightly fresher tyres can always help just a little bit, just with the purchase of the car, and especially as you're coming in for pit stops, you don't want to be too worn.
No, definitely not. And again, we see the SRM boys head to the high line. Should see Noddy Tompkins jump up there and run with those the other two, Ruben Phelps and Matty Ray, but he's chosen to stay down.
He could be needing fuel a bit sooner because he had to do a lot of pushing to get himself back up into that position. So his fuel levels might be a little bit lower here. So maybe not wanting to jump up there and get caught up on the high line and needing to pop in for fuel.
Yeah, definitely, and we see the two quantum cars peel off. The three quantum cars peel off, and I just can't pick up that fourth car. But Wayne Van Buren and the boys are in too, so that's a good sign for these guys. I think that is Luke Jager, that fourth car. Yes, it is Luke Jager. So he's also working with the VSK of Wayne Van Buren and co. So everyone in, good group of guys in here now. They want to try and get out all together. Oh, someone in the background there's overshot.
Yeah, just a little easy mistake to make. It is such a simple thing to do. Just finding yourself running a little bit wide on the line, and I think that might have been, didn't quite see who that was, but it is an easy mistake to make. As we're saying, you're swapping to a different surface as you come into the lane, and it can just catch you out a little bit as you come into the pits. Now, when are we going to see the rest of the field coming in? They're going to hope to try and extend as much as possible here, because every lap they can extend here means maybe one less lap of fuel for the final run, or that final splash and dash, or possibly even one less pit stop in this race. So it's going to be crucial just to extend as much as possible here, be as calm and light on the throttle as you can be, and see how it can go. And we're seeing them linking up once more, and you know, it's probably good to just keep low at the moment so you can actually make your pit stop together rather than getting all split up like we saw with Valve Esports before. They sort of had a bit of a run and went up high, and it sort of caught them off guard for their pit stops because Norman Clark got shuffled out of the pack when that happened. So how much more can they extend this fuel run? We'll find out shortly. Noddy Tompkins doing a great job. He managed to extend to about 37 laps into his stint, so he did a very nice long stint there. So he obviously was doing a very good save, but we sort of didn't notice. I thought he'd maybe used a little bit more fuel, but now it's Valve and the Lucas Oil cars up towards the front with Matty Hunter.
Yeah, we just see the SRM guys in. They're taking right sides. Matty and Ruben are taking all four. That Valve's car of Jarrett Williams has been able to jump Ruben, but he's one lap down. So nice quick stop for him. And back up the front, we see Norman Clark, the leader of the race at the moment, even though he's well back in that field. So it'll be interesting to see when these guys come in. The other three Valve cars and the Lucas Oil's car of Paul Drady and Mark Smith.
Yeah, when do they come in? Looks like it won't be too long. And I think they're going to be coming in this time round. So the Valve cars peel into the lane, and we see them drop into the lane as Clark, Lefebvre and Nankervis come into their stop. A little bit of a lock-up in the middle there for Scott Lefebvre, but he has kept the car running, and it looks like they've managed to get through without any penalties.
Now,
So that leaves Mark Smith up in the lead.
yeah, Mark Smith and Paul Drady. Now, as I said early on, they were concerned about their fuel mileage last night as we shut down from broadcasting. I had a long talk to them, and they were really concerned. But it looks like they've been able to fix that, and they're in this time by. So that's 44 laps out of those two Chevrolets. So it's good to see that it looks like they've may have fixed the issue.
Yeah, they've just managed to extend that little bit of extra there in that stint, and they're going to be tantalisingly close to the line when it comes to the finish here, Mark. They're going to be, from my quick calculations, about 5 laps or so short of fuel. So they're going to need to come in for a quick splash and dash at the end unless they can do a mega save in the stints. But they will be stationary for a lot less time than some of the other cars.
Yeah, but don't forget we do have cautions to come in play. We haven't seen one as yet, so we're at halfway race distance almost. And as I said earlier, it's normally either the start or the end where we see some cautions. And with these guys tonight, they've all been behaving themselves so far. So when we get down to that last 15 to 30 laps, expect to see maybe 1 or 2 cautions come into this race.
You're only a matter of moments away from the big one at Daytona, and you never know when it's going to come. So Mark Smith, Paul Drady have actually come out in the lead here, but the rest of that pack is catching very, very quickly. Stevie Double leading the charge at the moment. There's a big wreck happening in the background, and they save it. They just about save it. Noddy Tompkins and let's see who the other car was. Derek Jacobs involved in that one, and Jason Nicholas. So those three just had a massive moment coming on to the tri-oval. Just a little bit of contact between Nicholas and Jacobs. Pinged it down into Tompkins, and big save there, because that could have been the first caution of the night.
Just looking for the replay, but it's not coming up. I'll have a play here and see if I can pull up the replay for you.
Okie dokie, we'll see if we can find that one. It brought up a couple of notches on our software, but not being a caution, it can be a little bit tricky to find them sometimes. But everybody's still running in that incident, but they are off pace for sure. It's broken up the back of the pack a little bit too, and that was not what Scott Lefebvre and Jared Williams needed. Those two have been sort of caught off guard and dropped off the back of the main pack. But I think their teammates might be dropping back now to try and link up with them so they don't fall too far back. So the Valve cars are falling back now to try and link up with the other two to try and keep them in play in this race. As a little bit of a moment there as well in the pack. Just a couple of little quick moments. That was Luke Yeager there, just having a little sideways moment as well. So the cars are getting a little bit sketchy out there. They're not quite as stuck as they were at the start of this race, and they are starting to struggle a little bit. Of course, fatigue starts to set in as well. It's a long old race. We're not even at half race distance yet.
And don't forget too, Carl, that the sun's starting to go down, so the track's going to start to cool out. So these things are, over the next couple of pit stops, we may see some adjustments being made to the cars.
Yeah, it's going to be crucial to sort of get the car working as the night goes. Good job by Valve. They managed to link up and save their two cars from falling off the back of the pack there. That could prove to be crucial as this race goes on. Meanwhile, SRM getting a good run up top. Matty Ray coming along thick and fast to get to the front of this pack. Stevie Dubb and Phil Otto once again working together very, very well as well.
Now we seen last night that when the Valve Esports cars Toyotas joined up, they were very quick together. Still a long way out from the end, so they'll just look at sitting there. We now have Phil Otto out in front. Stevie Dubb's in position 2, but he's actually sitting down in position 16 in the field. 2 SRM guys, Matty Ray, Ruben Phelps. Look at them to be trying to stay working together. There's some great paintworks there on those SRM cars this year. Mark Smith and Paul Drady, the 2 Lucas Oil Chevrolets, they are working together. We seen last night a mishap between those 2 as they came in the pit lane, but no such problem tonight. Tom Williams there in the Toyota, in the Quantum car. Then we jump back. Brett Campbell's there, but he's a lap down. Norman Clark, the lead car of the Valve Esports, the everything simulated back car, and again thanks for them coming on board with the league also this year. So great to see them supporting a team and the league. Jamie Nankervis took the win last night. I don't think he was supposed to get the win. They tried to do a beautiful 1, 2, 3 together across the line, but I think Jamie put his foot down that little bit too quick. Scott Lefborough in the 66 Toyota, he's actually in 9th at the moment, and then Derek Jacobs, that's way down the back a little bit. He's actually sitting in 10th, so that's your top 10 at the moment in the Harley Davidson backed Ford Mustang out of the USA.
Yeah, good recovery from Jacobs. He's got to recover well because he got caught up in that little incident earlier on. Didn't bring out the caution flag, of course, but it has slowed him down and knocked him off the back of this pack. So it's going to be a long old night to get that car back up there in a solid spot. But he's got a few cars to work with him at the moment, so it's not all doom and gloom back there. They're only about 9 seconds off the main pack as well, so if they can link up and cruise along, they might be able to catch the rest of the field if they start to slow down a little bit. So it's not over for them, but it's just going to be a lot of hard work to get onto the back of the main pack.
Yeah, definitely. So 2 laps out from half race distance, Carl. Are you willing to pick a winner as yet?
No, I don't want to curse any of these drivers.
I see we got a few people in the chat. I'll make a shout out to you. Anyone out there that's watching the race, the live broadcast, anyone game enough to pick the winner? Dave Douglas, have you got a winner? Andrew Dyson, can you pick a winner? I know your money's probably on Stevie Williams, but let's see what the people out there watching have to say.
See who wants to put the mockers on somebody else. It's always the tough thing to do because you just sort of, you never know on a super speedway. It can be very difficult indeed because realistically, any of the top 9 could take victory here if it was only a couple of extra laps. As we click onto the half race distance, 100 laps done, 100 laps remaining here tonight, and any one of those 9 could easily have it done for them tonight. Don't discount any of the cars a little bit further back as well in that secondary group, because if we see a big accident, they will catch up very, very quickly, and they might avoid some of the accidents and carnage on the track as well. So it is really anybody's race still from here, but it's all going to be about that strategy now. Who has got it right, who has got it wrong? And at the moment, I'd probably say Paul Drady and Mark Smith are looking good on the strategy side of things. They've managed to extend their fuel stints. They've got a little bit of extra gas in the tank. They could be in a very good position for the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely in a definite good spot as we bring up half race distance race info. 100 or it's 100, 198 to go now. We've had 20 lead changes with 10 different leaders. So great race so far. We are a little bit behind what our programmed race time was thinking. So let's keep going, and just looking at some of these driver helmets. I'll see if I can get some front on shots from some of these guys. Some real different types of helmet paints are happening in these cars at the moment, Carl.
Yeah, it's that the one thing on the car that you can really personalise yourself, especially if you're in a team, is the old skid lid, and you see quite a few drivers running the skid lids of real life drivers. They run their own designs, or they run designs from other points on the marketplace, and it's just one of those little things you can do just to add a little bit of character to that virtual driver sitting in the car, because we all like to have a unique little helmet on and try and look different to the rest of the field. And you don't really notice it too much in a tin top in a stock car, but once you get on to the open wheelers, that's when it really starts to show what sort of helmet you're running. As I say, it's a little bit less visible when you're running a full metal race car with a closed top.
And just brought up Mark Smith there, white helmet with a bit of a scary face on the front of his one. Everyone seems to have a fairly normal helmet on tonight, which I find a bit unusual. Just looking back there.
They're always tricky to see, as I say. It's tricky to see them in these cars because they're a little bit too enclosed sometimes.
What we need is Paul Jackson out here. He always never disappoints with his helmet paints and his purple wheels. So we will see him. He's actually registered to come back and race with us this year. So it's good to see. Will be good to see Paul Jackson out there on track.
Yeah, we get to see Kiwi back out on the track and racing hard, and he always does. Currently, a few of the Kiwi contingents out there as well, and they are having some fairly good runs at the moment, keeping themselves in trouble rather than out of it. But they are sitting in some good positions so far tonight. So always nice to see the Kiwis out in force and having a good run out there. Of course, our cousins from over that little bit of water.
So I'm pretty sure at the moment the highest placed Kiwi is Ruben Phelps in the 06, and he's running in third at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely flying along. And he's just dropped off a little bit from the front of the pack, but they're just sort of shuffling around at the moment, trying to get comfortable. And as I said, I think quite a few of them are thinking about the fuel saving as well, because you can see that secondary pack is closing in. Wayne Van Billion is doing another great job of closing in on the rest of the pack. He's had to do that a couple of times tonight, but he is closing in at the moment, and that's dragging along Carl Needler, Tristan Koch, Derek Jacobs, Jason Nicholas, and Matt Hunter with him. So they're going to try and get onto the back of the main pack now and see what they can do in this race. And look, if they can get back up there, they're going to make their lives a lot easier for this final run to the flag.
Yeah, definitely. Look, we've still got 15 cars on the lead lap, and we're into the wall there. Matt Hunter, uh, we've definitely jinxed him because he was the last car on the lead lap, but he's definitely going to have some damage down the right side of that car. Unfortunate for him, he looks like he's going to slow and come into the pit lane. Some damage down that right side. So unfortunate for Matt. It's the night isn't going the way he would have liked, but he's done well so far to stay up in that lead group on the lead lap, and it's definitely got some damage down the right hand side.
Yeah, Justin Allen caught the rear of the 48 there as well. The number 6 has got some heavy damage on the front end too. So that was a bit of a scary moment. We seen that. We saw that last night, Mark. Drivers just getting caught up on the high line and getting sucked up into the wall and hitting it with a fair amount of a whack. So it's not something that is unique to the 48 and unique to Matt Hunter tonight, unfortunately. It caught a few drivers last night out in the duels, so it is tricky up there. And at this stage of the race, where you get all that debris, the detritus of the tyres rolling up there, all those marbles, it can be an absolutely perilous place.
Yeah, you can see there from the views coming live now through the heavy damage down the right side. Matt's stationary, so he's the crew will be out there working on the car, frantically trying to get him back out there and get some good points for the continuation of the season.
Meanwhile, Phil Otto still in the lead at the moment. He's got Stevie Dubb pushing him along, and they are working well with each other at the moment, having a good run on the low line. And if I recall correctly, I think Phil and Steve used to be teammates long ago, so they have worked together in the past as well. So two drivers there with some experience, and they've created their little alliance on a track for tonight, and are working very well at the moment. Matty Ray has slotted up in front of Ruben Phelps now, so the SRM car's just doing a little dosey-do, switching around with each other and getting themselves in a position to try a little bit of fuel saving as well as this stint rolls on. We've got 90 laps remaining here tonight on Checkered Flag e-streaming for the Lucas Oil's 2024 Daytona 500 here with the Aussie Outlaws.
Might just jump on board, and we can see it from the aerial shots from the Goodyear blimp. The sun's starting to go down now. It's part of the track is starting to come in the shade. Just jump on board and see if that sun is playing a part in this role. And at the moment, it doesn't look too bad from the onboard shots.
Not too bad at the moment. I think the problem's going to come in 1 and 2 when it does, if it does lower a little bit more. But it's not too severe here, and it's one of the useful things about having the high banking is the sun quickly creeps behind it and stops you from getting blind so quickly.
Yeah, definitely. We can just see here coming through the tri-oval. We can see now the turns 1 and 2 just starting to disappear in the shadow as we go into one around mid-corner there. So that part of the track will be cooling down a little bit now, and it'll give you a different type of a read on the car. So that's the next thing that these guys have got to be careful of is just the shade coming across.
Yeah, the track temperatures will start to drop as well as the air temperatures as well, and the engines will enjoy that. They'll enjoy some nice cool air coming into them. That's going to help them a little bit, but with the track temperatures dropping and depending on what line they've been running, that can change the way this racetrack runs to the very finish of the race. So expect to see a few people just starting to experiment a little bit, try and get an idea of what the other lines are like just in case they need it. But most of them will be running the low line for the moment. You might just see them darting up quickly just to double check things and then getting themselves back into the snake on the low line once more. as we continue on, and it is still Phil Otter up in the lead. He's having a solid run tonight, and it's good to see from Phil as well, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, having to get a biopsy done on his ear. So not the nicest place to have it done as well, especially if you're racing in a virtual race, because usually you need to chuck some headphones on, and that is very uncomfortable when you've got any stitches on the ear area.
So just in the background there, we can see Matty Hunter coming back out. He's got the repairs done to that Ford Mustang, and unfortunately for him, he's ended up 6 laps down. So yeah, unfortunate for Matt. Not a night he would have liked. The great result from last night, but it's good to see him out there, as I said, having a run with us this year.
Getting a little bit more seat time in on the sim at least tonight, and that'll get the old confidence levels back up as well. Always an important part for any driving need is getting the confidence levels back up. So 115 laps in, 85 to go here tonight. We're creeping towards the end. It will still be a few more laps before that happens, but it's running well. We might start to see some pit stops needing to happen in the next 5 to 6 laps. So we're going to get some more green flag stops here, and that always brings some chaos into the mix, and I expect to see some carnage as this race goes on, as people try their best to make it so they can get home with as few stops as possible. It's always a crucial part of oval racing is actually having somebody there to do all the calculations for you, because it's very hard to do that as you're driving. You have some helpful programs such as Crew Chief that will do it automatically for us, but it's always useful having a bit of extra brain power and a couple of extra eyes on track with you, just to help in those circumstances and give you a bit of a chance for a more interesting strategy, shall we say, and that can really help you out in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. Excuse me. So we're coming up to probably one more pit stop, maybe. I can't see it. I think these guys are going to have to do another 2 stops. Now, the other thing these guys have got to remember too is that here on Aussie Outlaws we have 3 green, white checker tries. So they really got to think about that too.
Yeah, always worth keeping that one in mind, because it's very easy to get caught out on track. If you've only got a lap worth of fuel in the tank and you get 3 green, white checkers, you're not going to be making it to the end from there. So always good to have a little bit of extra fuel in the tank if needed.
Yeah, I know 2 of these teams, when they come in, if they can, they'll put 4 extra laps in the fuel into the tank. So and some guys even put 8 or 9 laps extra into the tank on that last stop.
And with that can sometimes favour the brave, because a few drivers that put less in, or maybe don't put any extra fuel in, they will be stationary for a lot less time, and that can give them a lot of track position on the track. So it's all about risk and reward when you're doing that kind of thing. I'm always on the slightly pessimistic side and like to go for a little bit of extra fuel just in case. But if you are brave enough to do it, it can sometimes really pay off for you.
Yeah, definitely. Now the other thing too is, we've seen guys change tyres here. Daytona, you don't get a real big gain out of fresh tyres, but look for some of these guys to put just working side tyres on. So it'll be interesting to see what strategy comes down to that last pit stop.
Wayne Mambellion's done another good job of closing in on the rest of the pack. Carl Needle are working behind him with Tristan Koch, and they've managed to close themselves right back up onto the tail of the main pack here. And it's been a long time to get there, but they have finally done it once more, and it's been a long night. It's been a hard night of work in those cars because they've been having to close the gap every stint, and that is a tiring way to drive a race car.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it makes for a long night. We just see Wayne Cut closing up on his teammate Justin Allen there, and unfortunate for Justin, he's now 4 laps down. So unfortunate, not the way. Um, excuse me. VSK Motorsports would want the night to go. I know that they've been talking to me through the week, and they've been looking forward to the 500. So unfortunate, one night is going to end good for one and not so good for the other.
As can be on these super speedways, and just now he's got a little bit of damage on the front as well, so that's not going to be helping his night out too much. Hopefully it won't be affecting him all that much tonight though. So I think we might be seeing a few cars coming down the lane in the very near future, possibly Phil Otto in the next lap or two, and we might see a few more decide to dart into the lane and get their pit stops done. And we do indeed see Phil Otto, Stevie Dub coming in to the lane. We also see the Quantum cars coming in as well. So 2 of the Quantum cars just behind in Tom Williams and Brett Campbell. So 4 cars in this time round, and that's not too bad. If those 4 can all get through and get a nice service done, get back out onto the track with each other, they should hopefully be able to keep up a bit of speed here. But that's moved Ruben Phelps up into the lead of this race. Maddie Ray just behind him. And now it's going to be a case of, well, I don't really want to be leading this race right now. I want to be saving fuel a little bit. So who can get that done exactly right? That's going to be the hard part for this next half of the race.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm just wondering if we see the Team Tweedy and Valve Esports stick out there with the SRM boys and dive into the pit lane and do a reaction stop if SRM come in.
Well, I think SRM are going to be able to manage about an extra 4 or so laps, whereas the Team 20 cars, they're going to be able to go probably an extra 3 laps on the cars in front of them. And then, of course, we have the Valve cars. They can extend a little bit further as well. So SRM at the moment, they're in a sort of awkward position. So they might be sort of having to come in a lot earlier than the rest of that little pack.
Yeah, we just seen one of the Valve cars. I think it was Jarrett Williams. Yeah, Jarrett Williams in pit lane, and he's been having to push hard. So we just see that back group of Jason Nichols and everything also come into the pit lane at that time too. So we'll keep an eye on these front 7 cars. Of Ruben Phelps, Matty Ray, Mark Smith, Paul Grady, Norman Clark, Jamie Nance, Curvis and Scott Lethborough. So they're going to stay out again for another lap. So these guys are really, I think, I'm going to say that the race winner is going to come from one of these 7 cars here.
Yeah, I would not be too shocked to see one of that little group getting it. They're actually catching up to Phil Otto at the moment and about to put him down a lap, and Stevie Dub down 2 laps here. But they are catching up a lot of cars, and it's very spread out here. This is a little bit sketchy. But they're all getting through nicely here. This will get a little bit chaotic as there's contact with Stevie Dub, and that is the big one. We're getting a wreck there. Stevie Dub makes contact with one of the cars, and that causes a huge wreck just behind. Who got caught in that one? Phil Otto did, I can tell you that for sure. What happened up with Stevie Williams? I think it was Mark Smith made contact with Stevie Dub. I'm sorry, Stevie Dub. Didn't mean to throw you under the bus there. I just saw the car going sideways. But it looks like Mark Smith's gone down made contact with Stevie Dub, unsettled the car. That's pushed him down into Luke Yeager, who was a very unfortunate passenger, and big checkup behind. Big damage for Jamie Nankervis. His race is pretty much run. Matt Hunter got caught up in that one as well, and quite a few cars having some major damage there.
Just got the replay coming up now. We're concentrating on Stevie Dubb and Phil Otto on the replay. Has come out of turns 1 and 2. And we see the lead group catching there in the background of the shot.
I said it was looking a little bit sketchy, Mark, and my feelings were right, I think.
So the lead group's gone between to the other guys there. Oh, Mark Smith just got a wobble and come down and got Stevie Williams, and the unfortunate one out of all that is Jamie Nankervis. Big damage there on Jamie's car.
Yeah, Phil Otto as well. His car is pretty much ruined. I think his engine went out as well, so his night is run as well. So I think we're going to lose Jamie Nankervis and Phil Otto from that lead group. They're going to need a lot of repairs, and this has shaken things up a huge amount now, and this will really change some of the lead pack as well, because there were quite a few very fast cars caught up in that incident.
It definitely was. It's going to really throw things around. Just let the timing and everything catch up. At the moment, we're showing the number 5 of Tom Williams in the lead, but I know that will sort itself out in a lap or two when they do get some more pacing under the way and iRacing catches up.
Well, Tom Williams is going to be in the lead because he was one of those cars that made a pit stop about 5 laps ago. So he has shuffled himself up into the lead of this race. Probably could have been good just to come in just for a quick top up, but he's decided he wants track position over that little bit of extra fuel. So he stayed out there and is going to be leading from the very front of the pack. Quite a few cars just waiting for the wave around here as well. We've got Matt Hunter, Wayne Van Billion, and Derek Jacobs here waiting for the wave around. So they will see what they can do. They'll hopefully get a lap back and be able to get some more racing in this one. And just waiting for my timing screen to update. And I think Tom Williams has stayed out again. So he will be in the lead of this race once we get back underway. But first caution flag, and we did say watch out for pit stops and those kinds of things, because that is when it gets very dangerous on track. And once again, the danger came into play, and quite a few people getting caught out in that accident. So really shaken up the field here.
So by the looks of it, Carl, we've had our first retirement. Phil Otto has taken that car behind the wall. Too much damage, as you said. You think it was a engine expiry for him?
Yeah, it sounded like the engine made a loud pop. So that car was very much out of the race. Steve Williams as well, one of those other drivers that got caught in that, and his night, I think, is pretty much run as well. His engine was very damaged as well. And
just having a look at his car on screen now, heavy damage down the right, some damage through the nose. So yeah, his night may be over too. Just check on Jamie Nankervis. He's
back out on track.
He's back out on track and up in the 8th position on the timing screen at the moment. So that's great for the everything simulated backed Toyota number 8 car. A little bit of damage on the nose, but it doesn't look too bad, Carl.
No, we'll see how that goes. It could be just some cosmetic damage. But we do know that that took a very heavy whack. They've done a good job of repairing it in the lane, but it's going to be it would have been a quick bodge repair rather than a beautiful car rebuild. Pace car is about to peel in. Tom Williams is going to be leading away with Matty Ray on the high side as we go back to green flag racing here at Daytona. 72 laps remaining for the Lucas Oils 2024 Daytona 500 here for the Aussie Outlaws on Checkered Flag e-streaming.
So great start there from Tom Williams. No surprise there that Ruben Phelps jumps up to the high line in front of Matty Ray. We've still got the Valve E cars, SRM and Team 20 Lucas Oil cars. 3 wide. Bit ambitious there by Scott Lafborough.
Yeah, he thought he had a run and it was not there. So a little bit of inexperience showing, and he kind of wants to get up on that high line to get with his teammates, I think. But you can't get up there when there's another car in your way. We're seeing a couple of cars needing to come in to serve some black flags, unfortunately. And one of those cars just made a big mistake coming onto the pit entry, locked up, and ended up nosing it into the wall. And that was Justin Allen. Big mistake from him, and Carl Needler as well. Locked up getting onto pit road and just got it into the lane. But again, a couple of big errors there on track. They've luckily gotten away with it without bringing out caution, but that does not help them with the penalties, unfortunately. That just makes it even worse. So their night's just going from bad to worse, unfortunately. And their races are, well, effectively ran, you've got to say. Although they could find their way back in the latter stages if we have a couple more big accidents like we just saw. Hopefully not going to be the case, though. Hopefully we get some good green flag racing here. And up on the high side, it's Ruben Phelps and Matty Ray getting up to the lead.
Yeah, definitely a nice run for SRM. We've seen them in the past weeks just sit back and come to the forefront towards the end. But that's now, I was just going to say, that's left the Valve East cars up top by themselves. Unfortunately, Norman's jumped down and left Jamie up there high and dry along with Jarrett Williams. So Jamie's been able to force his way down into that low line. So just a little bit ugly up there on that high line at the moment. The guy's just trying to settle down. One of the Quantum cars at the back there jumped down in that low line. So it's definitely the low line where they want to be again at the moment. But we've still got 70 odd laps to go, so be looking at another 25 or so before we see him back down in the pit lane and the boxing gloves come off and some bare fist fights.
Yeah, the aggression levels are going to start creeping up as those laps start creeping down. Drivers will be more and more ready to make some risky moves to try and get themselves up a couple of positions. And look, we saw some really good patience in the early stages of this race, but any kind of driver is not patient, be it a full metal racing driver, a sim racing driver, a white van driver. They all lack patience when it comes to the important parts, and they will get very aggressive as they get to the end of their journey. And that is when the gloves come off, the window gets rolled down, they get ready to swear at people, and they get ready to get punchy as well. And they're getting punchy a little bit further back. I saw Jamie Curvis just giving a little bit of a nudge to Tom Williams, and they are starting to really try and get an idea of what their cars have got. And Jamie Curvis is going to be doing that in his car, the number 8, after taking a lot of damage. He took a heavy whack in that last caution, so he needs to know what that car can and can't do. And that's always a crucial part of a super speedway race. If you do get caught up in an incident, is working out how much damage you've got, and then working out how much it's affecting your car. It doesn't look like it's slowing down, that number 8 at the moment. It still looks like it's got some good pace, especially when it's following the car in front. It might just be a little bit slower if it's leading.
And he's still got good pace. He's still getting up over the 300k mark, so uh, it doesn't look too bad on the nose. There is a small crease there, so that will have a little effect if he was out in the front. You'll probably find that he'll look at pushing Norman Clark or Scott Loughborough to the wind, but they are going to have to make the run on the outside, because this inside lane is going to stay tight and bunched up.
Yeah, the inside is looking pretty comfortable at the moment, and probably the place to be as these laps tick down. 65 laps remaining, and it's going to be a pretty hectic run to the very end here. So it's also going to be just very, very close to being able to make it on one more stop as well. I'm just trying to do the maths at the moment, and it's one of those sort of, if they can save enough, they can just about make it to the end without too much problem from here.
Yeah, I'm just looking down. Tom Williams has done 14 laps on this tank, and the rest of the top 10 are on nine. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what goes on here.
So we did see Noddy Tompkins manage to do a 37 lap stint at the start of the race. That's what they need to do to get to the end here. They need to make it about 37 laps to have enough to just about be able to crawl themselves to the line. So that's going to be a crucial thing to do. Now, the people up front leading, they're not going to be able to really do that. They're going to be struggling to make that one work. So it's going to be... people are going to want to be further in the pack. Nobody wants to lead this race right now. If you're leading this race, it's kind of a death sentence, and it's going to mean that you can't make it to the very end. You might get a few people trying to force the speed of the pack to try and make it so nobody can make it to the end. And if the pack follows, then that will be the case. They'll need a quick splash and dash somewhere towards the end of the race. Just a tiny tank of fuel. It'll just be a couple of litres they'll need, but they will need to make that splash and dash. If they can run at the pace they want to run, though, and extend, then they will just about be able to make it, but it's going to be a lot of saving, and that's going to be a lot of work behind the wheel for these drivers. You've got to... Ruben Phelps dropping down very sharply to the low line. The SRM boys are doing exactly what I was talking about there. They are dropping right in the back of the pack now and trying to go on full hardcore save mode. But they might have run a little bit too rich too early, and they may have just snookered themselves for that final stint. So they may be in a little bit of trouble here by running so aggressively up the front for those first few laps of this little run.
Yeah, definitely. We can see there, Tom Williams out is probably the worst off. He's now up to 17 laps on this tank. Everyone else is 4 laps better off almost.
Yeah, he stayed out. Remember, he didn't come down pit lane. He had 5 laps done before that caution flag flew. Gave him some great track position, but it is going to mean he has to make a splash and dash here. He can't make it to the end on one more stop. Everybody else is going to be marginal. Derek Jacobs is going to be in trouble. He's definitely going to need another stop. Same for Wayne Van Bullion. He's going to need to make another stop as well. Everybody else can theoretically do it, but they've got to save like absolute beasts.
Yeah, I think you'll probably add Brett Campbell and Phil Butler into that mix too, Carl. They're on 18 laps on this stint, so they're definitely going to have to stop again. And Campbell's there now on the outside lane, leading in front of those 2 Bauv cars. But Brett Campbell's a lap down, So we still have 10 cars now on the lead lap, with that last car on the lead lap being the 83 of Matty Ray, sitting there at the rear of this lead pack.
And oh, it's getting a little bit spicy up the front, Mark. Butler and Campbell, I think, just making a little bit of heavy contact while they were bump drafting, and it unsettled Brett Campbell, and it's completely slowed the pack down. They had a massive checkup. Good job from everybody not to wreck with that one, because that was a big scary moment. But what they're doing is they're sliding themselves in front of their teammate, trying to make it so Tom Williams can extend here.
Tight squeeze in there by the 067 car of Phil Butler. A bit of a squeeze in there from Butler in front of the Lucas Oil cars of Paul Drady and Mark Smith. Now that's put a little bit of a gap between them. But this has also worked for Jamie Nankervis and Scott Lethborough up there at the front, where they've now got that group of 5 cars has got a little bit of a gap starting to form between the back of that Quantum car and the Lucas Oils cars. But as I say that, they close right back up again.
And we have had some cars resurrected by some car romancers. Phil Otto is back out on track, same as Justin Allen and Luke Yeager. So they've managed to get back out on track 14, 15 laps down, those cars. The only car that is currently not out on track is Stevie Williams, who is in for a long, lengthy repair still. That car is still very heavily damaged, still needing some major repairs. But we might yet see it appear back out on track. But it's going to be many, many laps down, unfortunately, for Stevie Dub. But we still have 22 cars on track in this race. 10 cars on the lead lap, with 4 cars 1 lap down, 3 cars 2 laps down, 1 car 3 laps down, and Matt Hunter 7 laps down in 19th position. So there's still quite a few spots to be made out there, and you can still find yourself climbing up the order a little bit here tonight. If we get some big late accidents, it is not over until the fat late sings, as they say.
Yeah, definitely right. We have seen anyone this late in the race, if you're 2 laps down, you're still in with a chance. But definitely have to be a few more cautions for that to happen. And I can't really see that happening, as I've now just jinxed the race.
Yeah, we'll soon be finding Phil Otto back on the lead lap. He's 15 laps down, so you've now cursed us to have a lot more cautions, Mark.
I'll look at, what was it, over 100 laps before our first caution. So really well done by these guys out here tonight. I know it is a long race, and we see Norman Clark drop down to the lead now. Probably wanting to slow that line down and give Jamie Nankervis and Steve Lethborough a chance to jump up in front of Jarrett Williams to try and get the push to the front.
Yeah, they're sort of seeing what they can do at the moment. Jarrett Williams is just sort of caught up on the high side a little bit, and does not look like he's got too much pace at the moment. That car is almost feels like it's acting as a bit of a wind block up there. They've lost a lot of speed up on the high line, and that the cars behind are probably wanting to try and bail out of that high line if they don't pick up the momentum soon. And it looks like that might be the case for Carl Needler. I think it is just behind Jared Williams at the moment, and that high line is just absolutely stalling out, unfortunately. It's not paid off for them. Nolly Tompkins drops down low, and it would not surprise me if we see Needler try and drop back down low as well. I am surprised to see Norman Clark running up the front, though. I was expecting to see him sitting back and doing his usual fuel gobbling thing of saving as much fuel as possible. He is very, very good at doing that sort of thing, and he's decided he wants to be up the front tonight. So he has taken the lead of the race, but that's going to be using a lot more fuel than it would have been if he was sitting a bit further in the pack.
Yeah, definitely. Norman, in the last few weeks, since joining the VRV sports team, has got a bit of dog between in him, and he really is starting to show some aggression through these races.
It's good to see the aggression levels being turned up a little bit from Norman Clark because he's got the speed, he's got the knowledge, just doesn't always have the overall aggression aspect. He's quite a laid back chap, so with that getting turned up a little bit, that will make him a force to be reckoned with, and he's doing a good job up front. Tom Williams just sitting in a little bit behind him. He's got Brett Campbell behind him at the moment, who is a lap or so down, 2 laps down at the moment for Brett Campbell. But Norman Clark happy to be up front, so I think this means that Valve Esports that they're sort of going. Well, nobody else can make it to the end from here. Realistically, nobody else is going to make it, so we might as well run it a little bit faster. We might as well run at full pace here and make sure nobody can make it because that's what they're doing at the moment. They're running in the 46s, the mid 46s, I should say, which is a fairly decent pace. And that's going to make sure that nobody can make it to the end without a little splash and dash.
Yeah, definitely, and we've seen that last night too, Carl. Like that last pit stop, these guys all came in together, took fuel and tyres, and they come out with a 2 second gap over the field, and they stretched it to the checkered flag, and at the end, as they crossed the checkered line and got the flag, they were 6 seconds up over the rest of the field. So there's definitely some speed in these Toyotas.
Yeah, they've definitely got a sweet spot on the setup in them, and they are happy with them now. It's not the case at the end of on last Friday, I should say, but they have done a lot of improvement since then, and the car is seeming a lot better on its speed and in its pack running now, and it is looking pretty darn sweet, you've got to say. Don't discount the Quantum cars. We know that car is quick. We saw Brett Campbell getting a second place in the official Daytona racing as well. So that car and that setup is darn quick and has got some really good pace to it as well. So could see them having a good run. And Tom Williams could be a dark horse for tonight's race.
Yeah, definitely. And we just see get there, Brett jumping out, and big bash, big bump down the back straight by Campbell on Clark. So, it was still 50 odd laps out, or 49 laps out from the checkered flag, and the aggression level and the bumping is coming up.
Yeah, that was a big old bump and run there from Campbell to the back of Norman Clark, and that's probably going to up his speed a little bit there as well because I just shoved that car along. So they're all starting to get a little bit. I think none of them want to be running this pace, but they don't want to be losing the lead pack. So they're sort of caught in a hard place. And this is what I was talking about. Somebody might run up to the front and try and force people to run faster. And it's a great strategy if you know you're not going to be able to make it home. Forcing a group of cars to run faster than they have to means that they are going to need to either make a real big fuel save and lose a lot of time on track, or make a splash and dash and lose a bit of time off track. So it is a very good strategy to have sometimes. It doesn't always get you a win, but it might get you a top 10 finish or even a top 5 finish with tonight's field, especially with so few cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, definitely. So Tom Williams there is just holding those other VRV sports cars back a little bit. I know Jamie has been touching the rear end of Tom to try and get him to hurry up, but right at the moment we've got three of the Quantum cars up there and three of the VRV cars. Even with Brett Campbell being a lap down or 2 laps down, he can get out there and help his teammates. There's nothing against that. It's once you start to get 3 laps down or further, that's where you've got to be careful on being mixed up with these lead cars and getting involved.
Don't discount those 2 Lucas Oil cars. We know that those are absolute quick sleds, and they are sitting patiently in 5th and 6th at the moment, and just happy sitting back there at 3/4 throttle, not using up too much fuel. They're just relaxing, reading a book, having a quick drink as well, and just letting this race come to them, because they could be in a position where they could save enough fuel to just make it to that critical point where they could maybe make it to the end without another stop. It's not going to be long until we start seeing some pit stops as well. We are 20. We're getting close to some of these guys being about 20 or so laps. Tom Williams, he is 33 laps into this stint. So how much further can he go? Remember, we also had the pace car conditions. That saves you an enormous amount of fuel for those few laps as well. As you're running behind the pace car, you clutch it, you switch the engine off, you extend as much as possible, you save as much fuel as humanly possible. I think the big outlier here will be how many laps Tom Williams can do. If he can make it to 35, 36 laps, then the rest of the pack might be in a good place to make it to the end of this race with just one more stop.
Yeah, definitely, and we're getting to that point now. We're on lap 156 as we go across the strike this time. So that's definitely getting closer and closer to the one more stop for all these guys. We've got to get to about 165, I say, and then everyone in the field can make it home on that last stop.
It's going to be close. It's sort of 165, 164, that sort of area. That's going to be the close point. But when will we see these first stops happening? They're going to be getting close to it. Tom Williams now 35 laps into this stint, so he's doing a good job at the moment. Remember, he'd done about 5 or so laps prior to that caution flag coming out, so he has about 5 less laps of fuel on board than the majority of the rest of the pack here. So he will have to come in a little bit earlier, but everybody else, they're sort of at that point where they can. It's going to be so close. They're just going to be spitting distance to the end, and it's literally going to be fumes in the car. Another lap here, not seeing anybody popping it into the lane just as of yet. It's getting closer and getting closer, and for Tom Williams it won't be long until he needs to pull it down at the lane. Remember, he did quite a lot of leading as well from the front, and using that car as a bit of an air breaker. Pace is still quick though out there. They're still in 46.7s, so they're not far off ultimate pace, so they're not in super mega economy fuel saving mode. They are still pretty happy to stretch their legs and get some pace here, and it is quickly counting down to when they need to come in to the lane. Crucially, Tom Williams has made it to 37 laps, so if the rest of those guys that came down the lane can make it 37 laps, then they can make it home on one more tank of fuel. It is really, really close here now. Anybody that pits in the next 2 to 3 laps, they are going to be right on the bubble. They're going to be on that point where they just can't make it home. If they can extend it to about 4 or 5 more laps, they can make it home on this last tank of fuel. So it is real tense stuff to who comes into the lane first, who has to pull the pin, who has to pull the trigger. and whoever does that, and if they have to do it soon, is going to be ruining the fact that they're down the lane, and it will be very painful indeed.
So Brett Campbell there sitting in second on the road, 2 laps down. He's now up to lap 38 on this stint. Philip Butler also sitting down in 15th in the 067 car. He's also up to 38 laps. So they're definitely going to be looking at stopping very soon. Maybe extended by 1 or 2 laps because of the caution. But you're right, Carl. We are going to see some frantic pit stops here in this next 10 laps or so. And it's, as you said, it's going to be a matter of who and when they pull the trigger.
And it's just got to that sort of stage where they should be able to make it home from just about make it home here. So they should be all okay. And you know, I was just thinking back, they were making about 40-45, weren't they, before? So they should be able to actually do it. The ones that are going to be close are Tom Williams. So they're going to be a little bit empty on fuel, but they should be able to make it from here. So it is now that tipping point. You can come in anytime now and make it home.
Yeah, definitely. And look, we're coming up to 2.5 hours of racing now, so it's been great. 1 caution over the course of the race so far. It looks like Phil Otto has taken that car behind the fence again, so 1 retirement in the race, and we still have 10 cars on the lead lap. So that's some great driving done by the guys here tonight.
Absolutely. So yeah, Phil Otto, he's pulled out of the session, unfortunately. Stevie Dove is still sitting in there with the repairs. That just shows how badly damaged that car was. It is still needing repairs done to it. So we might see that car creep out back on track at some stage, but it's going to be a lengthy repair job. I think we're going to see some pit stops very, very shortly, though. We should see some pit stops maybe in the next lap or two, and who is going to be coming down the lane. And, yeah, I apologise for getting my maths wrong there a little bit. It's not only a long night for the drivers, but for us commentating as well. So in comes Tom Williams. The Quantum cars coming in together. They have pulled the trigger, and it's like they've all made it into the lane without too much trouble. So they've got to get back out now and get back out in a position where they can run together and run hard with each other. Now the Valve cars up the front of the field, Norman Clark, Jamie Curvis and Scott Lefebvre, have got together. Mark Smith, Paul Drady right behind them. Derek Jacobs up in 6th, our American contingent. And he's having a good run now. He got caught in a little bit of an accident earlier on, but he managed to get back up and salvage his night here. And we know that car is quick as well. So, a little wobble there for Mark Smith. He just caught the car below the yellow line. Unsettled it going through the corner, but just saved it. That could have been a big, nasty moment there. And this pack is coming up on some lap traffic now. And they are trying to figure out where those lap cars are going to go. I'm thinking the lap cars are going to stay down low. Now they are dropping low to go past them. So we're getting quite a big spread of the field, and this has caused 2 lines to form as well. And this could be a little bit of a tight squeeze, as they're going to have to go 3 wide to get past this group now. As Noddy Tompkins drops low, and 2 SRM cars are caught in the middle. Will they be able to get through cleanly? They do. They just slot back into a gap, go back 2 wide here, and that low line comes thundering past now, and that is getting past other cars in the group, and they are going to be chugging along still trying to get themselves back on the lead lap. So they're going to drop down a second lap now, that group of cars. Jason Nicholas, Carl Niegler, Jared Williams, Phil Butler, I think, were in that bit of a group. So we're going to see these guys extend as much as possible here. They are going to run the tank as dry as humanly possible now, just so they have less time in pit lane. Expect to see a few people not worrying about tyres now in this final stop, because you can gain so much time by just taking fuel only. You don't even need to take a full you don't even need to take a full tank of fuel to get to the end now. So that can be less stationary time in pit lane. And those couple of extra seconds saved can absolutely make your race come alive here at the end. 33 laps remaining. We are getting very, very close to the 500 mile mark.
Yeah, definitely. And I was just going to say, look at the high line. It's Ruben Phelps and Matty Ray up there by themselves. I'm just trying to see. I think the Team 20 cars will come in and pit with the Valve Esports cars. The SRM cars will probably do their own thing. It's going to be interesting to see what the reactions are of who and when out of this group pull the pin and come down pit lane.
I'm kind of expecting the Team 20 cars, the Lucas Oil cars, to stay out a couple of extra laps, because they've been saving pretty hard most of this stint. So expect to see them stay out a little bit longer, maybe the same as the SRM cars. So we might see them just keeping out extra lap or two as we're seeing the Valve cars come in. They come in together, a big group behind them as well. You've got Derek Jacobs, Van Billion coming in there as well as Carl Needler and a few others from the secondary pack. So this is the race on now. Who is going to get it right? Who is going to get it wrong? They need to nail these pit stops. Norman Clark taking left sides only. We saw this last night. They were taking the left sides, not the right sides. And they are just going to chuck those on as they take fuel to the end. They've got enough time to change one set of tyres because that takes not too much time at all. Fuel-wise, they get it in and they come out in beautiful formation there. That is a fantastic stop by the Valve Esport crew. They absolutely nailed that pit stop. In and out. Great job from Norman Clark, Jamie Nankervis and Scott Lefebvre. They absolutely nailed that one. The rest of the pack still out racing though. And this is going to be crucial for them because they're running at a much faster pace now. They are going to try and run as fast as possible now for the next few laps. Try and build up a bit of a gap. Try and extend and see what they can do. But they're catching a lot of lapped cars, a lot of cars coming out of pit lane. This is going to get messy now. This could get tricky, and this could catch somebody up high as well who wants to come into the pit lane, because they're not going to want to wait behind those cars, but they could get caught high and dry. Ruben Phelps darting through, Matty Ray darting down, keeping the two Lucas Oil cars up there. They're not going to be able to make it into the lane, and they do not. The two SRM cars pull in, and almost like magic, I kind of called that with those two Lucas Oil cars staying out a bit longer.
Now the big question here, Carl, is what do these guys do? Do they take 4 tyres? Do they take 2? Of course, they'll take.
You've got to take 2. 4 tyres is going to take too long. 4 tyres is about 15 seconds. 2 tyres you can do in about 8 to 9 seconds with fuel. Yep. So just 2 tyres there for them both.
No, Ruben took 4. Ruben went up on the left and right side. Wasn't able to see what Matty Ray did, but Ruben definitely took 4 tyres.
Yeah, that shows in the time. They were both about 15 and a bit seconds, about a second slower than the Valve cars.
So we're back live pictures with the Team 20 cars. Now these guys don't want to get caught up with these slow lap cars because this is the time where another caution could come out.
But They are running at a vast rate of knots at the moment, and that's going to help them because that's what's helped SRM out. They had enough of a lead over the Valve cars that even though they were a second longer in the pit lane, they've come out in front of them. So the two Team 20 cars, the two Lucas Oil cars, they should just about make it out in front of Ruben Phelps now and retain the lead, but they've got to nail this pit stop. They have to nail this absolutely to perfection. Just take 2 tyres. Don't risk taking 4. You don't have a huge amount of time. You need to make sure you get in your box properly. Don't waste any time at all. Any extra second stationary could leave you behind the rest of the pack. What are we going to see? Are we going to see the left side come up? We don't. It's just right side only for Mark Smith and Paul Drady. They come out now. They're exiting the lane as Ruben Phelps is on the front quad oval. The tri-oval, I should say. And they're going to get up to speed. Will they be able to get up to enough speed? Did they lose time as they caught those lapped cars? We're going to find out very shortly. Phelps coming into turn 1 now. The two Lucas Oil cars exiting turn 2. They're not going to be up to speed. I don't think they're going to be very close, but you can see that group of cars now catching them very quickly. The two Lucas Oil cars running at about 270, 280 kilometers per hour. The rest of the cars behind them up at 310. They are going to catch them quickly. But the Lucas Oil cars might be able to just hold the lead here. Will they be able to keep themselves out ahead of the SRM cars? Will the SRM cars come steamrolling past? It looks like that's going to be the case. Or will they slot in behind? They're just getting there. They just didn't get up to enough speed. Will they be able to make to launch past them? They don't. Great stop for Smith and Drady. They keep themselves in the lead of this race.
Now the race is on. These guys got teammates two by 3. So let's see what happens here. We know that the Toyotas are quick. We know those SRM cars are quick, and we definitely know those two Lucas Oils, the Chevrolets, are rocket ships.
With those Valve cars, though, Jamie Nankervis has been dropped off this pack. So it's Norman Clark, Scott Lefebvre, and Jared Williams. So Jared Williams has managed to link himself up nicely here to help his teammates. So that is crucial. They've got in a good position. And look at SRM and Valve running up high, and they are going to shuffle the Lucas Oil cars back in the pack. These Valve cars need to link up now and get a good run off the corner, and they could find themselves right up in front. Meanwhile, Jamie Nankervis is a little bit further back. He's fallen off the back of the packs, so his night is going to be long from here. He is going to have a lonely bit of a race from this point on, unfortunately, but we'll keep our eyes up at the front because they are racing hard at the moment, 2 wide, and it is SRM in the lead with Ruben Phelps and Maddie Ray. On the high line, it's Norman Clark leading with Scott Lefebvre and Jared Williams. Then we have Paul Drady and Mark Smith down low. So there's a lot of racing going on here, and we'll see what carries on. And with them side drafting like this, with them racing like this, it gives the opportunity for Wayne Van Billen. And the caution is out. We've got a big wreck happening in the second pack. Just as I was going to mention that secondary pack, there is a huge wreck going on as there was contact. Big wreck in the background, and that has taken a fair few cars out. Let's try and get the replay of that one.
Got the replay here now.
Noddy Tompkins involved in it, I saw. Let's see what happens here for this group of cars. I was just going to mention this group because they were catching on the leaders. They were doing a great job to catch up to the leaders. The cars that are at the front, they will be able to catch the leaders. Hopefully, Wayne Van Billen doing it. A bit of a bad rub, I think, on Noddy Tompkins, and catches Phil Butler and Brett Campbell, I think, get caught in that one, and that is going to be their night a little bit more over.
Yeah, it just looks here like a little bit of a snake wag in the train. bit of a rub there. Pushed Noddy up, and Phil come down below him, and that has seen Noddy come back down and just get caught. So that's unlucky for Noddy and those guys.
A huge
And
disappointment for Derek Jacobs as well, because he had some really good pace in that car. He was on the lead lap and he was closing on the leaders as well, and his race is over. That car has been taken behind the wall and we've lost to 27. Have a good sleep. I hope that's some consolation, Derek, that you get to go to bed a little bit earlier, but a huge shame to be wrecked out of the race with only 23 laps remaining.
yeah, definitely. But that's worked in Jamie Nankervis' spot. He's in the pit lane at the moment, so I'm just wondering what he's up to. We'll see.
Getting repairs. I can answer that already, Mark. He's going to be getting some repairs on that car. That car did take an enormous whack in that first accident, so I think he's just coming in to get a few more repairs done, get a couple more rolls of 100 mile per hour tape stuck onto the car, and get it back out to see what it can do. Good news, though, for Van Bullion and Tom Williams, because now they will have caught right back up to this pack and they will be in a strong position. Tristan Koch as well. He should be the lucky dog in the 550, I believe. So we will have an extra car back on the lead lap, and we should hopefully see him back up towards the front of the field. And it's going to be, negates the last 178 laps, Mark. It's almost like we don't need a 500-mile race. We should just do a 20-lap race and just have an early night.
Yeah, why not? But this is all part of the excitement of NASCAR. You know, you have to buy your ticket. You know, unfortunately, there's 9 cars on the lead lap. Will be 10 once Tristan gets his wave round. And
I'll
you
just hand over to you for a couple of seconds, Mark.
Yep. So that's the whole idea. Is a big patient chess game. The first 180 laps or so. We'll go back green racing, and we'll have the 2 SRM cars on the front row. Matty Ray and Ruben Phelps. As Carl and I have said earlier, you can never count these SRM cars out. They're always there, thereabouts. As we can see, the lights are out on the pace car, so we will go back green flag racing next lap with 20 laps to go. Good news for Jamie Nankervis. He's now out of the pit lane. He'll catch up to the rear of the field to take his spot, and he'll be still on the lead lap, but back down in 8th, 9th position. So we'll concentrate on the start here.
Yeah, and the SRM cars lining up nicely there as well. So it's going to be some frantic action, and so I think Jamie Nankervis is just getting into his spot as well. So he's going to be getting himself up there, and that's some good news for the Valve cars, because they may have 4 cars up in the top group. So that could be very handy for them in this final part of the race. But SRM have the lead of both lines at the moment. Watch out for the 2 Twitty cars, the 2 Lucas Oil cars on the low line. They are linked up, raring to go as well as they're coming around. Hopefully the final caution of the night, so we can have a great green flag run to the end here of the 500. The pace car is about to pull in, and we are about to go back to green flag racing here at Daytona for the Lucas Oil's 2024 Daytona 500 here on Checkered Flag E-Streaming for the Aussie Outlaws Series. The green flag drops and away we go once more. The two SRM cars linking up nicely, slotting themselves into formation straight away, and that low line is forming up very, very quickly.
Now what we've got to hope to see is we've got two teammates at the front. Then we've got a mix of other team cars, but they're not linked together. They're not nose to tail. The two VSK from New Zealand are in there. So it's going to be interesting. But look at these two Chevrolets of SRM. There are rocket ships this late in the race. So be mindful of these guys, but you really don't want to be leading that front, that last lap. Look at the VRV sports cars jumping up the high line. Now they've joined up. That will also allow Paul Drady to catch up onto the back of his teammate Mark Smith. So it is on now again.
Yeah, no Valve cars jumping up in formation. You've got Clark, Lefebvre, and Nankervis there linked up nicely with each other, and they're going to try and get that run nicely to the front with those three cars. Hopefully the damage on Jamie's car is not too severe. And just a little bit further back, you have got Jared Williams, so if he can get himself up a couple of spots past a couple of Quantum cars, could have 4 Valve eSport cars lined up in a row, and that could be very, very handy for the run to the checkered flag. But that Highline's got some momentum now. Look at it coming along. Norman Clark absolutely flying along on that Highline. He is rocketing along, and it's just starting to catch the momentum. Momentum starting to be caught out now as they're just getting into the corner, but once they get off the corner, it will come back to them, and they are pushing along nicely once more. Forwards they go. 2 Quantum cars behind, trying their best to push along, and that is Tom Williams with Brett Campbell. They are having a good run up there, and Tom Williams having a very strong race tonight as well. But they've just got Norman clear of the front. Will we see Clark and Lefebvre drop down in front, try and chop the nose off of SRM, or will they try and keep it in a line here? They're looking, they're thinking about it. Norman Clark's thinking about going down for the block, but he decides better of it. He stays up top, but that's cost that Highline the momentum. Not a terrible thing. They still have 17 laps to go. This could be a bit of a practice run. So bit of a trial run there, possibly, by that team, trying to work out what they've got. And they know they've got some good speed, but now they need to get themselves back into a group, and they could get themselves into a formation of 4 here. The Quantum cars drop down. That's going to allow Jared Williams to link up to the back of his teammates. That is what they wanted to see at Quantum. So all 4 of those at Valve, sorry, they've linked up with each other. All 4 of those cars are linked up in a line, and that is all teammates, all working together, all able to communicate with each other as well. So that is going to be very handy indeed. But they have a huge, huge problem up the front of Ruben Phelps and Maddie Ray. No slouches at all. And then behind them are those 2 Lucas Oils cars, the 2D cars of Smith and Drady, and we know that car is quick. It took pole position of the 500. It was the fastest car out here, so we know that thing has got pace, and they have just been biding their time in this race. No glory runs. They've not been worried about leading. They've been happy sitting back in the pack and just waiting to strike, and they could well make that happen in the last few laps. That Highline's starting to get a better run again. Maddie Ray's seen it coming, starts pushing Ruben Phelps along as they get more and more aggressive as this race gets closer and closer to the finish.
Yeah, look at the last 10 laps to that Highline drop down and try and drag those cars back. I think you'll find Jarrett may play the lamb slaughter and drop down and try and side draft Ruben and pull him back. Now that we've got 3 of the Valve cars clear, Are they going to drop down and leave their teammate? No, they aren't. That now it looks like all 4 of them are now clear. Are they going to drop down? Yes.
They are.
Jarrett Williams drops down first. So now we have 4 Toyotas at front, chased by 4 Chevrolets of 2 different teams though, Carl. So we don't see many Mustangs up there. I think there may be 1 or 2 Mustangs in the Quantum Sports guys, but it's all Toyota and Chevrolet at the moment.
Well, we've got Van Bullion up there in the Mustang. He is still running along, and he is one of few Mustangs up there in the top 10 at the moment. He's the only Mustang on the lead lap. So that is the only hope for the prancing, well, the dashing horse, I should say, of the Mustang. It is the only hope they've got of getting the win tonight is Wayne Van Bullion at the moment, because that is the only one inside the top 9 and the only one on the lead lap.
So we're just now, just gone over 2.5 hours of racing, and we're down to under 30 laps left in the 500 for the 2024. Well, it's hard to pick. It's still anyone's race, really. You just can't pick anything out. But we can see these 3 that finished in the top 3 last night back out in front. They had a clean sweep in the shootout last night, so we know they're fast cars.
You know what I'm expecting to see is the SRM cars trying to get a run, and Nankervis jumping up high and just getting himself linked up to that high line and just slowing it down a little bit. That's going to be my call at the moment. That's my expectation. We'll see if we're proven right as this race goes on. But as you said, only 12 laps remaining now, Mark. We're going to find out very, very soon who can get this one worked out.
Yep, definitely, and we can see those Toyotas are quick. The 4 of them in the straight line. This will be, if these guys can take the win, it will be a great debut for the team to take out a 500 race win.
Absolutely, it is a bit unfair. They have for Toyota the best NASCAR out there. It does help them a little bit, but that just means Chevrolet and Ford need to raise their game a little.
But that's an ugly car.
A race-winning car is never ugly, Mark.
True. But we can see this line now all starting to close up again. Ruben's closed in on the back of Jarrett Williams there, so it's definitely going to be on. 10 laps to go. And just remember, ladies and gentlemen, we do have 3 overtime runs. So should we get a caution and we go into overtime, we do get three chances at it. Just seen Mr. Allison pop in. Welcome, Mr. Allison. Welcome to the chat room there on YouTube.
Good to see him out and about. Be better to see him out and about on track, of course, but always nice to have Brad come on for the journey. Quantum looking to try and move forwards now with Brett Campbell and Tom Williams. They're trying to come along, and we're going to be lapping a car, and it's going to stay high. And Norman Clark jumping up there to try and get a little bit of an advantage, trying to get that extra bit of slipstream. So veteran move there by Norman Clark. Absolutely love to see that kind of thing. And it just breaks that rest of the pack up a little bit and stopped Quantum from having the run. So Norman, thinking about the cars behind him, he is in full race mode, full attack mode. He is very much going full mongoose at the moment and trying to stop that snake behind him from having a good time.
Yeah, definitely. And look, there's now no bars. We're inside the last 10 laps, so bare knuckle fights are on. Quantum guys jumping high. Paul Drady looking at jumping up there, but he decides better off. It drops back down into the low line.
It looked like that car got really, really loose He jumped up high and it just was not working for him. He just got really, really wobbly on him. That car was not wanting to stick, and he had to abandon that run. So they're going to take a second run at it now on a slightly flatter part of track. That's probably a bit wiser because they won't have to worry about the wall so much. They've got the Quantum cars behind them, so it's a 4-car train up the top. And now we see Valve moving their cars across the track and keeping them in positions to try and block off that high line. They've not quite got there fast enough, as we see Mark Smith getting in front. The rest of the cars move up, and there's contact at the back. There's contact at the back, and there is a huge wreck behind. Matty Ray got caught up in that. There's caution flag isn't flying yet, though. We still don't have the caution, but there it is. The caution flag is out.
So we'll jump back and see if we can actually see what happened.
So we'll jump back to that replay when we can.
Unfortunately, it's not logged it as yet.
Okay. So we'll see if we can find that one. If not, it looks like Jamie Nankervis was just moving it up a little bit to block off the line a little bit. Unfortunately,
here it is.
There we go. So watch the third car back there. Jamie Nankervis, he's moved up a little bit, and they just make contact. And it looked like Jamie was holding his line, and Mark Smith just was running a little bit fast, and it just caught the back, turned that car around, and watch this second pack. Oh, huge hit, and that is where the real damage came from. The 27, I think, not 27, that wouldn't have been the 27.
It's 42. 42 of Jason Nichols. 72, sorry.
Yeah, that was a big unseen moment, and that rest of the pack just came flying in a little bit too fast, and Nichols, who was sort of at the back of that group, unseen Jamie Nankervis, and had nowhere to go. And that caught him out, as well as Tristan Koch, I think it might have been. No, Steve Hoppett. Steve Hoppett had a big hit in that one as well. He got sideswiped by it. He almost avoided it, but he just got caught up the front. So big accident there, wiping out a lot of fast cars. That has wiped out a lot of fast cars from that top group. Matty Ray, Paul Drady in for major repairs. Carl Neela as well. I think he is needing to get some... Oh no, he's got his lap back, so that's good news for him. So he's good. Van Billion got a little bit of damage in that one as well. But that's effectively cut our lead pack down to about 5 cars.
Yeah, we've got eight cars still on the lead lap. So Norman Clark, Scott Lethborough, Ruben Phelps, Tom Williams, Wayne Van Billion actually are the guys that are still out there circling. Matty Ray and co are in pit lane. And I'm just was looking at Paul Drady. It looks like he's for some reason it's locked him into his pit box. You can see there he's trying to move, but it's not letting him go.
Oh, that is really unfortunate. Because Mark Smith his car is absolutely ruined as well. So something weird there for Drady. That is really odd, and he's just about got it away. So I wonder if he was getting, maybe he was just getting repairs and just making sure the engine didn't die. So just revving it to keep the engine somewhat alive. But he needed to get some major repairs. Matty Ray is back out there, but his car is looking relatively beaten up. It might be okay, but we'll have to see how it goes for pace. but he's probably going to be resigned to a pushing role if he can get enough pace in that 83 to try and help out the 0-6 of Ruben Phelps. Up the front, though, it's going to be Norman Clark and Scott Lefebvre leading away. So it's going to be up the front, two teammates on both lines. Then Tom Williams and Ruben Phelps, Maddie Ray, Wayne Van Billion, then Carl Needler and Paul Drady. So 8 cars on the lead lap. Probably only about 4 or 5 of those cars that are in any condition to take the race win.
Definitely going to be interesting. 4 laps to go. When we cross the strike, we will go back green flag racing. Just check quickly on Paul Drady. He's closing in on the lead group, so let's hope he can get up there and do something.
Yeah, I don't know how much speed will be left in that car, but hopefully he can get at least across the line and get some good points out of this race. Of course, remember, this is the start of the championship, so points are always useful, and getting a nice top 10 finish early on in this championship could set you up in a very strong position later down the line. So Clark and Lefebvre taking us away for the lead. Who is going to take this one? We're going to find out in just 4 laps' time. Pace car peels in, and they are going to start moving away. When do they drop it? In the restart zone they are now, and away we go. Nice and slow restart there, actually, just absolutely taking it at the slowest speed. And Tom Williams just got a bit of a run before the line. I think Lefebvre just got away a little bit too slow and just caught them a little bit lacking at the back, and that's going to cause them to go 3 wide. And that's going to shuffle Tom back a little bit here. So he's going to fall back, but he's got Brett Campbell behind him. He can link up with his teammate. Up the front is Norman Clark. He's got Ruben Phelps behind him. He jumps up to link up with Scott Lefebvre. Those two are linked up. Can Maddie Ray link up with Ruben Phelps? Ruben's going to jump up into the middle line, I think. Try and hook up with Maddie Ray here. And they are going to try and link up the 2 SRM cars. Can't quite make it work because they have Wayne Van Billion right underneath them. Wayne doing a good job to stop that from happening, and he's broken that line a little bit. Maddie Ray just dropping back there. He's not able to keep that pace by the look of things.
Tom Williamson, a brilliant drive, kept the foot in it. He's now up in the 3rd. Now that's dropped the SRM boys back. We've got a great run here. We've got VRV Sports v Quantum Motorsports. Brett Campbell playing a great supporting role. Being 2 laps down, he's out there supporting his teammate. Scott Lefebvre, Norman Clark jumped up to join that high line. And that's,
Oh, who was that? That was Tristan Koch just saving that car by the skin of his teeth. Norman Clark moving up to cut that high line off, and that might have been a big mistake there because that has left him without any help, and that's given Williams a great run. That's going to be him and Brett Campbell moving along. We've got 2 laps remaining here. Norman Clark needs to link up with a teammate or Tristan Koch. He jumps down and jumps in front of Tristan Koch there. He is linked up with Tristan. Remember, Tristan is a lap down, so he is trying to save himself in that lucky dog position should we get a green-white checker. Norman Clark jumping up a little bit higher. He's going to try and link up to the SRM cars. He is going to do that. He links up with SRM and jumps in front of Matty Ray to cut their charge off. Will he jump down to Scott Lefebvre here? He needs to start linking up because the Quantum cars are running away with it at the moment up the front. So it's going to be a nail-biting finish here. White flag will be coming out. Next flag is the finish if that comes out, and it does. White flag is out. Next flag is the finish. The race is on. Norman Clark on the high line, getting a huge push from Matty Ray. He is getting a massive monster run here up on that high line, and they are moving quickly. They're moving ahead. They're moving past Tom Williams. Will we see Clark drop down? Will he try and hold it in front of Matty Ray? He does. Matty Ray shovels down. Ruben Phelps here is going to get the run. Who is going to take victory here? It's looking good for SRM, you've got to say. Norman Clark is in a not enviable spot here as they come to the line. Norman just has to keep that car ahead of those SRM cars who are trying their best to unsettle it. Norman Clark somehow holding that car through the corner. Matty Ray absolutely doing a monstrous job behind him. gives him a bump and run. Matty Ray gets the run here, and it's going to be Matty Ray taking victory at Daytona.
Fantastic job by the SRM boys. Great finish. Yeah. Wow.
That was absolute fantastic driving up the front. Matty Ray, he had to do it. He had to do that to Norman Clark, but he didn't turn him. He didn't wreck him. Norman Clark came home third. Ruben Phelps doing a fantastic job of pushing Matty Ray to victory there. Somehow, the car that I'd written off that said, yeah, probably not going to be able to do it. It's only going to be about 4 or 5 cars in it now. Matty Ray, I think, has got too much damage. Well, I have got to eat my hat now because Matty Ray takes victory here for the 500.
Yeah, definitely a great race in the end. Sat at the back with those SRM boys. Just played it nice and cool to the end stage, and then really come forward.
And he is going to bag it up in celebration for that one. Burn it down, Matty Ray. Burn it down. You deserve it.
So we'll run through the results. We'll,
Let's run through the finishing results of that race. And it was the 2 Chevys of Matty Ray and Ruben Phelps for SRM taking victory here tonight. Second for Ruben Phelps. Norman Clark comes home in third for Valve Esports, with Scott Lefebvre in fourth. A great result for that team tonight. Very well done for them indeed. Oh, Needler comes home in fifth. He was a lap down some 20 laps ago. He comes home fifth tonight. Wayne Van Billion, a great job in sixth position. Tom Williams maybe just made the run a little bit too soon. Just got caught out on that final lap, but still a very strong 7th place. Paul Drady comes home 8th. Going to be disappointed with that one, I'm sure, but unfortunately caught up in that final incident. Tristan Koch really tried to help out the Valve boys on that final lap, but he comes home 9th for the first car a lap down. Brett Campbell comes home in 10th position, 2 laps off the lead. Phil Butler comes home 11th, a good result for Quantum all around. Jared Williams comes home in 12th. Steve Hoppett comes home 13th for Mad Dog Racing, with Mark Smith in 14th. 15th for Jamie Nankervis. Then it's Matty Hunter coming home 16th, a solid result from himself tonight, with Jason Nichols 17th, 18th for Luke Yeager, Justin Allen in 19th, and 20th for Derek Jacobs. Noddy Tompkins comes home 21st. Phil Otto and Stevie Dub out early doors, unfortunately, with the big accidents. And that rounds out our field for tonight's 500. So we'll wait for the drivers to take a quick comfort break, have a bit of a stretch, and get themselves into the green room for a bit of a chat and a bit of post-race debriefing. And just showing that those Quantum cars had speed. Brett Campbell takes fastest lap again tonight with a 45.590.
Yeah, great race. Only 3 cautions for 9 caution laps, over 200 laps. Look at that, Carl. 33 lead changes with 10 different leaders. So that no one can complain about not seeing any movement up the front right throughout the race.
That's it. Close to about 85% of the field led a lap tonight. So great job from them all. Really, really nice work from everybody out there. So let us start by getting some interviews done. So we'll grab up our third place finisher for tonight from Valve Esports. It's Mr. Norman Clark of the 09.
You should be able to pull them up, Carl.
Welcome to the booth, Norman. Congratulations on, well, second night in a row up here in the booth as well. And congratulations on a solid third place at the 500.
Yeah, Carl, thanks for that, man.
A very strong race from you and the team tonight. It was looking very, very good there up to the end, but just got caught out by those two SRM cars in the end.
Yeah, we had bits of damage on some of our cars and stuff like that, so we couldn't work all that good at the end of the day. But I mean, we did a good job. All the guys did a really good job. But Maddie and Ruben, they were the masters at the end there, and they really did deserve the win. Maddie Ray, great driver, Ruby as well. I tried to block them, and they played it real clean. They bumped me a bit, got me a little bit loose, but that's racing, and it was all perfect, and there was no way I was holding them off, let's put it that way. So good on them, good drive.
No, excellent job for holding that car at 310 kilometers per hour, going sideways around turns 3 and 4 at Daytona. Maddie Ray was absolutely trying to bump you out the way, but you're having none of it. You absolutely kept that car on the track and kept it running to the very end, just unsettled that little bit, but you kept it nice and close with them at the end. So fantastic result.
Yeah, well, you see, that's rally driver for you, you know what I mean? But no, Maddie got there on my right rear quarter, and I couldn't move up then, because then I would have obviously turned myself across his front of his car. So no, they did a great job, excellent job, and they definitely deserved the win. Both of them, real good work.
Absolutely. And look, from a team point of view, it was a pretty solid night from you guys as well, with yourself and Scott Lefebvre up there in third and fourth. Unfortunate to see the other two cars of Jared Williams and Jamie Nankervis getting caught up early on and later on in some incidents, unfortunately. But still, two cars inside the top five. Not a bad night indeed.
Yeah, no, that was great. Yeah, Jamie had quite big damage on his car. So he was really struggling most of the night, and Jared somehow dropped off the pack somewhere, and then he was fighting an uphill battle all the way. And Scott, again, he was really doing good, pushing me as best he could and stuff like that. And then towards the end, somehow I don't know what happened, but he got off the back of me somehow, and I couldn't go down to let him stay behind me, because I would have just got swamped. So that was when I ended up going high, and that was our only chance. But good work by all, man. Everyone did a great job.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Norman. Before I let you go, love and shout out for the team and sponsors.
Yeah, well, first of all to you guys, and Checkered Flag Streaming, and Valve Esports, and Everything Simulated, Lucas Oils as well. I think they're the sponsor for the race, so good on them as well.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Norman. Congratulations on another solid podium here tonight. It's you're making such a habit of getting up here in the booth, mate, and it's nice to see.
Yeah, well, next time you guys see a pensioner, stand at attention. Okay, guys, thanks.
Thank you so much, Norman. Have a great night, and we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, have a good one. Night.
I was just going to say, we might have to get a seat up here for Norman if it keeps going the way it's going.
Well, we can have the Norman Clark bench up here. That would be a good option. Give us a place to sit while we're doing the cooling.
Yep.
Next up for SRM, it is the Flying Kiwi himself, the pilot of the 06. It's Ruben Phelps. Rubes, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on second place here at Daytona.
Yeah, no, it was a eventful long race, as most Daytona 500s. Of course, a lot of strategic situations when it comes to teamwork and all sorts of other stuff that needs to go on in these races. But oh man, I'm so glad it's over.
Yeah, there's been a lot of racing at Daytona over the last couple of weeks. It can't do the nerves much good.
Oh, exactly, it does. I think I'll be seeing the back of this place for the next multiple months, I can tell you. But nah, that was real fun.
No, a good run from you guys at the end, and look, great teamwork from you and Maddie Ray. Somehow Maddie Ray getting his car resurrected and coming up and getting it past you somehow.
Yeah, yeah. No, that crash at the end, I was not 100% sure what happened, but I think I can. Well, I'm gonna say I already can see what happened, but I'm not gonna say nothing. But me and Matty sort of had a tyre contact, and he started doing this massive loop. I think him getting the tyre, I think the right rear tyre hit him, and then actually I think it saved him from any other sort of damage from because he managed to loop it the right direction. So, but yeah, I think he had like 30 seconds or 40 seconds of damage that he had to repair, and he was going to push me, but I couldn't quite get in front of him, so we swapped around, and obviously it just worked out for us.
It worked out very well, and it's been a good week for SRM Australia and New Zealand as well. Some very good results coming your way, and a second place at Daytona with your teammate winning is never a bad place to be.
Well, exactly. I'm just going to put this out there. No matter if you've got 4 or 2 teammates, we'll still be on top.
Absolutely. Look, great job tonight, Rubes. Well done indeed. We'll make Maddie Ray do the hard work of all the big sponsors, but personal shout-outs, go for it, mate. You deserve it tonight.
Of course, as usual, Mum's always watching, no matter what. So, hello, Mum. And, of course, me and Lockie and Jake were doing part of the 12-hour Bathurst earlier today. So it's been a long day for me. Hopefully they finished all right. Of course, Maddie Ray for leading the team and all that. And, of course, I'll leave him with the sponsors after.
No, look, great stuff, Ruben. I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth very, very soon. Congratulations on tonight. And, look, have a good rest after a long day of racing.
Yeah, catch it.
Ruben Phelps there for SRM, the flying Kiwi himself, having a great job flying along and pushing his team leader to victory. Next up for SRM, it is that man. It's Mr. Maddie Ray. Matty Raymond, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on winning the Daytona 500.
Yeah, that one's pretty good, isn't it? That's a big one.
It's not a bad thing to have next to your name, is it?
Oh, mate, I really didn't think it'd be me tonight after that wreck, especially. So I was,
To tell you the truth, neither did I. I'd written you off. So
did you pick me again this night tonight?
No, I completely wrote you off. I said you have no chance of winning it now.
Oh, there you go. Do that every race, Carl. Yeah.
So it was the reverse curse coming into play tonight.
The reverse curse. I like it.
That wreck at the end, I thought that was your race run as well. You got caught up in that. Didn't look like you had too much severe damage, but it did look like there was a bit on the car.
Yeah, and because, I can't see the back of the car from in it. Sorry, I got a bit of background noise going on. I couldn't see it from in the car, obviously, but the way I got hit that hard and spun around, and hang on, sorry.
That's all right.
And yeah, so the force that I got hit and just started spinning, I'm like, oh no, I've at least bent the toe link, or the rear end's not on it anymore. So hit pit lane, got 30 seconds, and they said, oh, okay, can't repair all the damage. So I'm like, all right, Ruby, as soon as we can, you just get in front of me and I'll try to push you, bud. That's why we probably looked a bit awkward there when he fired off.
Yeah, it's sort of the wrong car got in front, but
yeah, and then
I don't know, from your perspective, it's the right car, isn't it, really?
Well, no, I'd rather see my teammates win than myself most of the time, to be honest. But yeah, I just hit the high line with the other boys and sailed around them, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's not so slow. And then Rubes was like, well, I'll get onto you, and we'll try and win this 500. So yeah, it just got onto Normie and just I pushed him as hard as I could, which you might have been able to notice. I'm not sure.
we noticed the good little push to that. I do not know how he managed to stay on track personally, but look, it was great racing at the end. Gave him that nice little bump and just had that bump and run, but it was a really well done one that didn't wreck him off the field.
Well, yeah, and that's like he as you know, Normie's the nicest bloke out there in the world. It couldn't have been a worse person to have to sort of dump at the end there, I feel terrible about it.
It's like kicking a puppy, isn't it?
It is. But I'm like, well, he doesn't drive for my team, so I got to try it.
Look,
Yeah, we got it.
I think you're allowed one, so you've used it up
One
now.
mulligan. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But I mean, if you're going to use it, you're going to use it for the 500. Fantastic result for you and the team tonight.
Thanks, mate. Yeah. I can't thank my teammates enough. I didn't get a chance to thank them. I've thanked everyone else in the booth except them boys lately. So all of them: Ruby, Lockie, Noddy, Nate, Russell, all the American guys, Sean Fole, everyone associated with SRM has always been a massive help. They all play a role, and yeah, I couldn't thank for having better people around us. Really, we're not a big team. Well, we're big on numbers, but we're getting big on results lately, and that's really comforting. It's really cool. So I like it a lot.
No, look, fantastic job. It's been a fantastic week for the team as well. Hopefully, all things went well at the 12 hours as well at Bathurst. So
Yeah, I don't even know yet. I'll have to,
no,
yeah.
I have to wait and see that one.
Yeah.
But look, congratulations for a very strong week and finishing off with a fantastic victory here at Daytona. And, well, being the first race winner, proper race winner for the Aussie Outlaws.
Does that mean I'm locked into the playoffs too already?
Yep.
Look out, here we come, boys.
It's all going up. It's all going Matty Ray's way now. That's
It is. When's it? Oh, this isn't good. That means I'm going to have a bad end of the year. Bloody hell.
Oh, that's it. It's ruined now. You might as well give up.
Yeah, that's it. I'll park it while we're winning, eh?
Finish on top. Congratulations, mate. Before I let you go, love and shout out to those sponsors. They deserve a call out for tonight's fantastic victory.
They do. They always do. Moondog especially. He's a good help to us. Does all our T-shirts. One of the best sign writers, graphic guys you'll find around, let alone just in Adelaide. We got Justin, Adrian, and Diggs down at Aussie Canada. Same sort of guys. Do a bit of merchandise, and they're very good, genuine people that help us out a bit. And a couple of charities that we help out and support with Tourette's Syndrome and Alopecia Foundation. And of course, you guys for putting on the broadcast and all the work behind the scenes. Is it on Checkered Flag tonight? Sorry.
Yep.
Yep. Checkered Flag, e-streaming, Aussie Outlaws, everyone involved with the whole organisation. You guys put in so much work, and you never get thanked for it. So, giving us what we love to do, we can't appreciate it anymore.
I always welcome back in the booth with compliments like that, Mr. Matty Ray. Thank you so much. You have a great night. Enjoy some celebrations as well, because you have earned it for tonight's victory.
Yeah, I think I might crack that bottle of red now. Thanks, boys.
Enjoy it, mate.
See ya.
Matty Ray there for SRM taking the win here tonight, Mark. A fantastic inaugural race for the Aussie Outlaws. It has gone very well indeed here at Daytona, giving us a grandstand finish across the line.
Yeah, definitely. A great race. Well done to all the boys that put in the effort through the week with setups and some fantastic paints from the teams. We can only see what next week brings at Atlanta.
Yeah, very much so. We look forward to seeing you at Atlanta. A fantastic track with some great racing going to be coming. The Super Speedway action does not let up as we head over to Atlanta, Georgia for some more action next week. A big thank you for everybody for joining us here tonight, and apologies for me sounding a little bit rough towards the end. My allergies have been playing up non-stop tonight, so been a little bit tricky. But from us here at Checkered Flag e-streaming, myself, Carl Wilkinson with you, of course, Mr. Mark Johansson doing all the hard work in the background. We're going to wish you a very good night, and we will see you next time out at Atlanta.